Hello and welcome back to Blood and Ashes. This is episode 106, our new spring finale, where we will cover chapters 20 through to the end of the epilogue. I'm your host Mo, and I'm joined once again by my free-falling friends Villy.
Falling in love.
And Jody.
Dzień dobry.
What now? Where's that from?
That's the Polish I learnt while I was in Poland.
The one word.
It's two words, but yes, it's a greeting. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. It's just like a hello.
Like an aloha.
Yeah, aloha. Like a ahoy.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Like ciao.
Let's list
so.
all the one word greetings and farewells.
All right, everybody go.
And list done. Those are all the ones we know.
Who said bra?
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said in the intro, this is our finale. I mean, I think it's, what have we done? 3 other episodes? Is this episode 4 of New Spring? 5, maybe max. So
Something.
we'll do a sort of nominal review of the book and, you know, maybe favorite moment from the whole book towards the end. But this is not a full-blown main storyline novel, right? So there isn't going to be too much for us to dissect in hindsight. But in saying that, chalk another one up for the good guys. We've finished another book.
This is our
Indeed.
11th book ending.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting there.
It is,
Too many
yeah.
books.
It's the home stretch, right? Speaking of the home stretch of this book really picked up the pace. I was feeling a little bit like, oh gosh, where is this going towards the end? But then it ends with a real bang.
Yeah. This reminded me of the Sanderlaunch, as people refer to Brandon Sanderson's books. So, like, interesting for, like, 30 chapters, and then everything happens in the last.
Yeah, it just steps on the gas and just like suddenly
this
everything
is
is
the same.
happening.
This is the
Well,
same
the home
feeling I had.
straight is always flat taps. You got to put the right foot to the floor.
Oh, okay, well, that sounds like a prod for us to continue to move along and get into it. But I do agree, Vil, like, we've got a lot of like mainline story to get to, and I think Joe, you and I are the only ones that have actually started delving into Knife of Dreams already. And I feel like for the majority of this book, New Spring, I was sort of excited and enjoying it until, like I said, towards the end here, things started sort of like mellowing out a bit, and then it ended with a real bang. But so excited to just get back to the main story. I think what I'm really doing is I'm front-loading this episode with saying that for me, New Spring has felt like a little bit of a sort of distraction from the main stuff.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have more fun with it, but it does work as a nice interlude to make you keen for book 11. That's
guys,
it did its job.
Yeah.
Usually I would, agree with you guys, and we all in agreement.
don't.
But I vehemently disagree with you guys because this has been fantastic. It's been great.
Okay.
I absolutely love New Spring.
More than
And
book 10.
I really. Oh no.
Well, I agree
Jokes.
with Billy there.
It's like having bad canapes and then being served some filet mignon. No, I've actually really enjoyed it because I've learned a lot of things, and it also posed a lot of questions around things, and I think we'll delve into it towards the end.
We will.
But I think the most around it is how I miss Lan and I miss Moiraine in the main storylines. Like, they are such pivotal characters, and so they almost protagonists in the whole storyline.
Yeah.
And this really gives you a great background into it, and it's not boring. It's not sloppy. It's just a little micro story, what generally or always is combined to the same little thing with a set of characters or a party. Let's call it a party that's moving together, except the main books have got 6 of them going at the same time.
Yes.
Whereas in this time,
more.
you basically, if not more, you're just dealing with this one party, their story, and the little intricacies around them. And it's for me,
It's very
that was
focused.
just
Yeah.
very focused, which makes it easy to understand, I guess, is another part of it. You're not confused about, shit, because there's been days, or, I mean, the way that I consume it at the moment, there's often days or weeks in between storylines that you jump off it, and
it can be
then a
disorienting.
month goes by and you go like, okay, shit, what happened there and then? Where this is just on and it goes. Even if you're jumping between Siuan, Moiraine, and Lan, it's all tying together. It's just been clean fun for me.
I've just experienced an example of that today, Vil, because I'm about 200 plus pages into Knife of Dreams already, and there's a moment where Matt has a vision, like someone mentions Rand's name or something, and he has a vision of Rand talking to Loyal in a darkly paneled room. And I was like, oh, wow, that's like at the end of the last book, right? Like where Rand and Loyal are talking about, what they're going to do next and stuff. So, it's just like, it's almost like the record scratch, like, oh, wait, what? Okay, so Matt is back at that point.
All the way back there.
Yeah. No, it is tricky.
I wonder if Robert Jordan also wrote this book for that same reason that Villy's talking about. Like, I just need to just focus on like one group, please. Like one storyline, one plot point.
Again, we left it off with me and questioning on I can't even remember. It's a crossover of Twilight, terrible book. Asking the question, why? Why is this like it is?
Yeah.
And then going into this, like, you're reminded that I couldn't put the book down. I didn't go like, oh, this is hard work. I enjoyed chapter into chapter into chapter into chapter, and I could just go with it very easily, and not just go with it, repeat it again and say, okay, cool, I'm going to make notes now. It was just easy for me to go through it again and again. And I mean, it's just fun.
I've good news. We're about to go through it again.
Oh, all right. I thought Roy Marks was going to say what I was going to say. Is like, that's book 11. The same thing. When I finished New Spring and I started Knife of Dreams, I can't put it down. I'm happy to go from chapter to chapter to chapter. Nothing is boring. I wonder if this book is a reset, just cleared your mind, New Spring. If that's the thing, or if book 11 is just so much better than book 10.
Or importantly, it was a reset and it cleared RJ's mind.
That's what I'm thinking.
Get him out of the weeds a little bit.
Sent him back. He did a little side quest, and now he's focused again, and you can tell.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of focus, let's focus on the task at hand and get through our vegetables in everyone's favorite section called callbacks. Okay. Firstly, Joe, I think I completely misunderstood what our general misunderstanding around the Oath Rod and the 3 numerals in the old tongue scripts imprinted on them.
I know.
So let me just lay it out, because it starts with a mistake that I made. So firstly, the Oath Rod in the White Tower does not have 3 ones on it. It has a 3. So the old tongue numeral for a 3. Samael's binding rod that he gives to Savannah has the 111 on it. Then the numbers are in the old tongue, right? We know that. The Aes Sedai can read the old tongue, so there's no mistaking anything, right? Like they understand the old tongue, they see an old tongue number, that's what they read, and that's what it is. So they just read it as a 3 or 111. Vil, you asked if there was a 0, and according to RJ's chart, yes, there was. So RJ, when he did the mapping of the actual characters, the digits, this is in no way like Tolkien nor anyone inventing a new system of mathematics. It's just a 1 by 1, like a 1-for-1 translation, right? Like he gives us digits 0 to 9 and the old tongue equivalent. So it's safe to assume that they used some version of it.
Dwarvish runes in Lord of the Rings as well. There's also just a 1-for-1. You can read it quite easily. You can learn it in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
And then what I was rather ineffectively trying to say in the last episode is that RJ's old tongue translation for numbers was a 1-for-1 mapping, blah, blah, blah. So my assumption is that the number 111 that we now know is on Samael and Savannah and Tharava's Oath Rod in the old tongue would just be the 3 old tongue 1s in a row, which is the horizontal dashes that I spoke about. Not at all like Roman numerals, which follow their own formatting and which are not just a one-for-one mapping with our digits. Their placement has a different meaning to our traditional numbering, right? So like adding and subtracting them, obviously, depending on whether they're in front of or behind the larger character in the sequence. And then Vil, you asked if there's if 100 is an X in Roman numerals, but it's not. An X is a 10, right? So an I is a 1, a V is a 5, X is 10, L is 50, C is 100, D is 500, and M is 1,000. And all their
C
little
for century. Makes sense.
C for century, yes. M for millennium. Yeah.
Oh, wow. How did I never realize that?
Well, you're not Roman. Let's cut you some slack.
Yes, thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for that.
You should learn some Spanish, because 100 in Spanish is cien, which starts with a C, and 1,000 is mil, which starts with an M. So it's very Latin-based languages. So
here we go.
And D is dieth. Okay, nice. Carry on, Moritz.
Dieth? Is that 500?
No, that's 10. Just to throw a spanner in your
Okay,
works.
it's all falling apart. Let's move on quickly. Then our own memories let us down, because I was sort of asking, did we do a bonus episode on River of Souls? You know, the story of Demandred going to Shara and getting the Sarkhan and stuff. Nope, we only did a bonus episode on the strike at Shyle Ghul, which Villy and I did that one time when Joe was unavailable. And Jody, when you and I did a charity stream for What's a Holiday, we did the quiz show. We did the multiple choice quiz show.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Just to go back to that numerals and numbers. Apparently, and look, I haven't done any research.
Oh boy, here we go.
This is getting better and better.
One in Mandarin or simplified Chinese is written as a horizontal stripe.
Oh, done.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you can do research into that. I just listened to it and I'm like, oh, okay.
Here's homework for you, Marts.
You pass. I was thinking that we should, at some point, if we do need to do a bonus episode, we should definitely do River of Souls, because I did read it at the time when we were sort of deciding, Phil, I think you and I were deciding, should we do Strike at Shyle Ghul or River of Souls? And I did read it, and it's really, really interesting. It's a really cool section. And, you know, Demandred and the Sharans, that he sort of rallies behind him based on the events of River of Souls, they play a massive role in Memory of Light, right? Like, just, if you haven't read that story and just suddenly in Memory of Light, like a bunch of Sharans rock up that can do all kinds of stuff, you know, like Aiel with filed teeth and Sharans channeling everywhere. Like, there's like all kinds of crazy shit that feels like it comes out of nowhere. A real Sanderlanche? What did you say?
Sanderlanche. Yeah. Like, dude, without the Sharans, it was a done deal for the light. Like, it was not even a contest.
Totally.
Like, I was reading that going like, this is easy. Oh, wait.
Surprise.
Spanners.
There we go.
A bunch of spanners.
Okay, then, Jody, I think you got your description of the Great Barracuda from Google AI. I couldn't find any reference to the Great Barracuda being the most commonly encountered species, but the Wikipedia entry for Great Barracuda states that mature specimens are usually around 60 to 100 centimeters in length and weigh 2.5 to 9 kilograms. Exceptionally large specimens can exceed 1.5 meters and weigh over 23 kilograms. A record-sized specimen caught on rod and reel weighed 46.7 kilograms and measured 1.7 meters in length. So, the length of your leg could be a barracuda, could be a silver pike.
Vindication. Yeah, Google AI sucks, man. And I know you're listening to me right now, Google, so take that to heart.
You know you suck. I Googled something the other day, which was based on one of the questions I think a listener asked on one of our YouTube videos or something. And I asked Google, when does Nynaeve learn that she can channel? And they're like, I think they're called like Lord of Chaos or Fire of Heaven or something. When Nynaeve falls off a boat into the harbor, she learns that she can I'm like, no, Google AI, you piece of shit. You know nothing.
So bad.
Yeah, ignore those first search results. Okay, I then, sticking with the silverpike, said that when Swan references silverpike in your nets, Villy, it seems like it's usually a bad thing and not the desired outcome. I don't think they're fishing for silverpike. It's a problem that if you're fishing or trawling for something else and you end up with silverpike in your nets, it's a problem.
Then you eat them. because they ate your catch. So
fair is fair. All's fair in love and fishing. Okay, then back to New Spring. We were talking about how much food Moiraine had to eat after being healed after her test for the shawl.
Yeah.
And we said, I think it was Gerald or someone had written in.
6
I'm
chickens.
throwing Gerald under the bus here, but someone had written in saying, they had like 3 chickens or something. It was a pile of sliced beef, turnips with cream sauce, broad beans with goat's cheese, cabbage with pine nuts, and a crusty loaf of brown bread. That's what she ate.
I think that's the
manageable.
equivalent of 6 chickens.
To a small Carinian woman, yes, certainly.
All right.
Tiny chickens, quail.
Yes.
6 quail.
A grouse. Or a grouse bigger. Callback.
God damn it. That's an animal one. I'll leave that to Billy.
Billy should know.
Between a grouse and a quail. Quail's smaller than a grouse.
What about a famous grouse? How big is that one?
But that's a bottle of whiskey.
It's
So
2 shots in the bottom of her tumbler.
Or 5 Eskimos.
ooh, now we're going to get hurt.
Then we also spoke about the guy Gorthanes or Gorthanus that came asking after Moiraine's affairs at the bank, right? And we were sort of like, is this from the hall? Who is this guy? So I just wanted to lay out a couple of the facts, maybe in plain English, to make it a bit clearer for us. The banker says to Moiraine that she assumes Moiraine is there to deposit her stipend from the tower and that she has no more information than what was in the letter she had sent 9 days ago. This is the letter that Moiraine never received. So someone in the tower kept it from her because this lady sent it to the tower. The letter told Moiraine of a tall, educated, maybe even noble Carinian man dressed in the uniform of the tower guard who came into the bank with an order apparently signed by Tamara, the Amyrlin seat, to show the state of Moiraine's finances to him. So he's coming to ask, what money does Moiraine have to her? And Vil, I think you were talking about potentially finding out whether she can pay for a campaign, to make a claim to the throne, like how much money they would have to add to it, whatever it is. But this person seems to be not acting in the interest of the tower because he's not asking for the records to be sent to the tower. He's posing as a tower guard, right? Like he is not actually from the tower guard. And he's got a fake signature from Tamara Ospenio, which the banker notices because she knows the signature well. She realized that it's a fake.
We also said that could be the competition.
A rival from Kyrian.
The rival,
yes.
that basically saying, okay, is this am I going up against
Yes,
Moiraine
from House
or not?
Rioton or something.
Because she would be funding.
Yeah.
She's been all of a sudden splashing cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buying that ad space is expensive.
Full page in the Sunday Times.
What's his name? The big guy in the Australian ads.
Clive Palmer.
Annoying ads. Clive Palmer.
Yes.
Spends millions, gets 3 votes.
Yes. So anyway, so the banker has this guy's captured by the guards, and then before the tower guard could come and get him, he escapes by bribing that person that works for her. And then Moiraine thinks that the reason the tower would have held back the banker's letter was to lull Moiraine into thinking they have given up on their quest to put her on the Sun Throne. But that's from Moiraine's point of view, right? And Moiraine has this thing in her head now, the tower is trying to put her on the throne. So maybe this is like an unreliable narrator situation again, where Moiraine is planting the seed in our minds that it is someone from the tower acting in this specific instance, because we know that Aes Sedai are having that conversation with her all the time, right? Like it's been made pretty clear that they're all asking her about like, oh, okay, would you be capable, or like how would we maneuver it, and blah blah blah. So we're getting from Moiraine that it might be the tower that sent this guy. So maybe it's not, like we said, maybe it's someone from House Rioton or some rival house in Kyrian. Moraine's dress order was 20 dresses that she had sent to the tower to throw the tower off of the idea that she might be wanting to escape, and then 5 more plain in the Kyrenian style, which are not to be sent to the tower but picked up. So she's ordering a big amount of dresses to make the tower think she's not going anywhere, but then has a little stash of dresses that she says, do not send these to the tower, I will come and fetch them. Moiraine managed, after many attempts, to bake a pie that didn't immediately go black. But after one bite, Aeldra turned pale green. Right, so Moraine's pie turned this woman green. So that's not a spice thing, that's a vomit thing, surely. Right, like that's what I would assume.
Yeah, but I wouldn't expect Moiraine to be able to bake a pie. I mean,
she's not, because she's saying she tried a bunch and they just went straight to black, and then she managed to get one that didn't turn to black, and it made Aeldra go green. Swan's fish pie that Aeldra said was quite tasty, or Aeldra had said was quite tasty, but an hour later had her running for the latrine and requiring healing. So maybe that's the spicy one.
That is for sure the spicy one. Curry,
I was thinking maybe the fish was off, but Swan would have known that.
And also Swan at some point, I feel like maybe even in these chapters, complains about like fish being served in an inn, and she says it's not spicy enough or under-seasoned or something like that. So maybe Swan just has a heavy hand with the spices. Then, to veer sharply from the Aes Sedai, Tom's nephew Owen was from a town near Erangel, so nowhere near the Borderlands. Remember, we were asking, who's this? There's the rumors of a man that can channel in the Borderlands. We think, oh, is it Owen? No, he's from a town in Erangel, in Andor. Tom clashes with Elida publicly about the gentling of Owen and his death, and this directly leads to an investigation by the Hall and the uncovering of the vileness, and Red Sitters being exiled from the White Tower. So, like, while Owen and Tom's situation does play into the tower dynamics here, it is not because Owen is in the Borderlands and is found to be a man that can channel. I think it was me that misspoke and said that the Reds were behind the death of the dad and sons, but what I meant to say was it was the Black Ajah. Like, we find out in these chapters, right? Like, right at the end here, we find out when Siuan and Moiraine are trying to puzzle out, like, what do they know and what do they not know?
Red, black, peas and carrots.
That's probably why I had the slip of the tongue. On Cadswain's Paralysis Net, there are trinkets in there that we do not know the specific use for. So Villy could be theoretically correct in why Merean and Laurel would spill the beans on Moraine's past indiscretions. Remember, we said Cadswain just asked them for something.
Being very honest.
And they just like spilt all the beans. And Villy said, oh, maybe one of her Ungreal in her Paralysis Net. And I quickly shut that down. But that was way too fast, because even from the fandom wikis and stuff, we know that they
okay. Genius that's well beyond its years is used to being shut down at first glance.
Like water off a duck's back.
Exactly.
If not compulsion, which would be wild, maybe something like what we think Lanfear's belt might have been. Remember, we've speculated about Lanfear's belt sort of putting people in a position of awe and shock, and basically like acting out of character.
There's just too much attention drawn to that silver belt.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah. And I mean,
no one ever talks about Rand's belt or Perrin's belt or even Moraine's belt. No one ever talks about it.
There's mentions of Perrin's belt.
Yes.
In the last book I read.
Yes.
Exactly, because his nice green silk coat, and then there's a old belt that's belt. Yeah. Ruining the whole ensemble.
Yes. We know that the Crystal Throne also has an effect on people. Like it's not a binding chair, but it is a chair in which people feel awe and that sort of thing, and they feel humbled. So maybe
speculated once before that the whole White Tower could be.
Yes, you did in the first season, I think, a long time ago. Yeah. But Cadswain's whole personality is built around this reputation as well, right? And even the mention of her name inspires awe. So I don't think it's necessarily a weave being used to elicit the kind of detail that the two Aes Sedai divulge. I read the passage again, and it's not too hectic what they share. The most personal detail is about Siuan and Moiraine being pillow friends, but that was common among novices and accepted. So I don't feel this is like quite the betrayal. Like, Joe, you were like, they didn't have to tell her what color her underwear was, you were outraged at like how quickly they shared it. Moiraine was just shocked and humiliated by it being discussed at all. But it's a couple sentences, it's not even.
If you are that like general level Aes Sedai that Cadswain is, and you interrogate people who did not expect you, you catch them completely off guard. You have an aura of superiority around you. It's easy just to shit your pants and give the truth, and a bit more than the truth. I mean,
yes. I mean that's it.
I've been in those
her reputation
situations.
Strikes fear into the hearts of younger Aes Sedai.
No, officer. I definitely didn't drink more than 6 drinks.
Laurel was 247 years old.
Yeah, she's still a junior.
She's not a younger Aes Sedai.
No, but I think it was Merean who was the
250.
mistress of novices who is sort of divulging the majority of it. But I mean, she might have been in the 200s as well. I don't know. Younger than Cadsuane, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's younger than Cadsuane.
Exactly.
I suppose.
I think the only way
speaking.
to really put this into terms that we're really in touch with at the moment, Joe, is it's between an ancient dragon and just an adult dragon in the D&D realm. There's a big difference.
Philly's been reading the master manual again.
I recall a dragon threatening us in the first campaign, but we had to run away all the time.
You did. It was destroying everything around you. Yes, running was wise. Okay, on from Cadsuane to the actor that played Zed in Police Academy is named Bobcat Goldthwait. That's his surname.
That sounds like a story name.
It does, eh?
Probably
in fact,
is made
it
up.
could be straight up in this books.
Well, if you buy into the simulation theory, then yes, very much so, literally. We asked about did everyone else in the campsite get wet when Lan gets splattered by Moraine's abyss tube, and they only get like a couple splashes on them. Lan is the one that's completely drenched. Lan's sword is power wrought, forged before the breaking during the War of the Shadow. It's the blade of Malkieri kings and not marked with a heron, because that blade is passed from king to king, and they're not automatically a blade master just because they get the sword, but it is power wrought. Tam's sword, however, given to Rand, was both heron marked and power wrought. At some point during his time as a soldier, Tam acquired a power wrought heron marked blade. Lan mentions to Rand that his sword is exceedingly valuable, being both heron marked and power forged, suggesting that Tam could have never acquired it from a merchant. Robert Jordan indicated during a 1994 Q&A session that Tam was given the sword by the King of Ilion. La-dee-da.
Mr. Fancy Pants.
Heavy gifting there.
I'm going to create a callback for myself here, but weren't the companions and Tam instrumental in saving the life of the King of Ilion during the White Cloak War or something along those lines? I think so.
Insta callback. Yes, you're correct.
Ah, excellent. And cross that one off the list.
Check.
Then my last callback here is Cadsuane. Although of the Green Ajah, over the years she has confronted and captured more men who could channel than any other living sister, including those of the Red Ajah, probably due to the 8-pointed star Tarangril that vibrates in the proximity of a male with channeling ability. So she's got a cheat code. She just walks around and she can pick up everyone.
That's not fair.
It's not, no. And she doesn't tell anyone about it.
Of course not.
What's the first line in The Lion King?
No.
Life's not fair.
Was it the first line of the movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
From Scar.
Scar catching the little mouse in the cave when he dodged the ceremony where everyone was like, the monkey threw the little lion off the cliff like,
I think we watched
and he made a goat
movies.
noise.
Okay, speaking of noise, let's get to our listener contributions. Wow, that's a low blow. That's a terrible. I take back that segue. Mr. Dependable Ian Yellen sends in the following. He goes, I know it's late, but now I'm super early for the next one. I've noticed a different issue with New Spring than with the other books. While New Spring is simpler and lighter in time than the other books of the series, it is much more of a name/trivia dump, i.e. who is this person and do they appear in the rest of the series? Yeah, agreed. It's quite a lot of that, right? And we even said that it's almost, it seems like strategically written at this point to sort of connect, Cabriana and, who the other, I say, Kyron Stang and, who's the last one? Now we're going to have to get it. It is...
No, but it's who's the two warring faction
yes.
Anaya?
From...
Anaya, yes.
Anaya. Yeah. Jody gets 1 point.
Jody gets podcast makeup points.
Mm-hmm.
The two sisters in Salidar that keeps battling and Ramanda
and Lelaine, yes.
But it gives context and background to that. There's so much background and context that's created.
And lucky for us, we had just
Merean.
like read the main series
Merean.
and like jumped straight into New Spring. But I guess Ian saying like if you had been waiting for the book, or you're just like thinking of maybe picking this up as Villy had suggested once, like reading it first, it's a lot of names of Aes Sedai just coming at you specifically in the beginning, right? Like a lot of lore dump that might be difficult to chew on.
Did I mention this? But that's the first book Christina read.
No,
My wife. Yeah.
really.
When we met in Ireland, we went to the library one day together, and I saw New Spring. I said, "Oh, you got to read the series," because that's the only book they had in the small little Irish town.
Yes.
And that's the book she started on, and she's a huge fan, and she listened to the podcast and finished the series. And
Unbelievable. Well done.
yeah,
I'll see it. Maybe
So
it's
it
not
is
impossible
possible
to pick it up. I think it is. I don't think you go like. I don't think you'd
Okay,
lost.
a
because
lot goes
everyone
over
is so
her head,
young.
obviously.
It's like an introduction to
Yeah.
people that you'll read about again. You're just going a lot better armed when you go like, Moiraine, cool. 20 years later on a horse.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. You'd lose a bit
Lan.
of the sense of mystery
He's
and
rat.
stuff around Lan and Moiraine as they arrive in Eamon's
Yeah.
Field.
Or you'd have a little bit, if you've watched the extended trailer type of thing.
Which I try not to do. Trailers these days give away entire plot lines.
The whole movie.
Yes. Anyway, Ian continues and he says, in the last episode, it was mentioned that Tam and Kari would have used either his money from being one of the companions or the bounty to pay for the farm in the Two Rivers. But Tam was from the Two Rivers, and that might have been his farm already through family. So that is true. In 956 New Era, Tam Althor ran away from his home in the Two Rivers and joined the army of Ilion, eventually becoming a member of the Companions. While serving Ilion, he fought through the White Cloak War, 2 wars with Tyr, and the Aiel War. During this time, he was able to rise to the rank of second captain of the Companions, and he rose to the status of Blade Master by defeating one in single combat, an action that he expressed some regret over, despite saying that it needed to be done. So yeah, totally could have run from that farm. Come back to reclaim it.
And back to the farm.
Ian also corrected us, saying that Tarangale wasn't just engaged to the daughter heir, Tigraine. He was married to her, and they had already had the kid, Galad. Since she then left and then he married, that'd be Tarangale, married Morghese, who is probably pregnant with Gawain at some point in this novel. So Ian just pulling the timeline together for us. And then Ian also wrote Silverpike are also called Northern Pike, on average of 40 to 55 centimeters with a record length of 150 centimeters. They also weigh up to 63 pounds. Great. Lots of pike.
Objection, Your Honor. Northern pike's a freshwater fish.
water.
Silverpike?
Well, it's said to be at the ocean because they catch them in the fingers of the dragon, which will be saltwater. Where northern pike or pike is exclusively a freshwater fish.
Ah, interesting. Okay, well, there we go. All right, thank you.
That's a
as
callback.
always, Ian. Guys, we're arguing like a made-up
So what
fish.
Ian did was just basically correct us all. I think you were correct in throwing him under the bus at the beginning.
Thank you once again, Ian. I forgot. I have a second batch of questions from Ian here, and they go as follows. Cadsuane is a force to be reckoned with, and I don't think the meeting between her and Moiraine would go very well, since she's already voiced her displeasure on how Moiraine had screwed up everything with dealing with Rand. So, like in the current story, she's commented on how badly Moiraine had sort of managed Rand. So I'm super keen to read about their next interaction if it happens. I can't remember if they meet again. I mean, surely they must around Rand at some point. Yeah. But yeah, keen to see what that interaction looks like. It says later on in the book that the Black Ajah was unsuccessful in their torture of Tamra and only found the dragon was reborn, but not when or how old he is. We'll get to that. The reason they were trying to kill lucky people like Lan is that weird luck is often a sign of unconscious channeling.
This is true.
Yeah, so that all feeds into that revelation that Siuan and Moiraine have toward the end. Ian also corrected me in saying that Merean wasn't the mistress of novices anymore when Moiraine ran into her in the Borderlands. So she was, but a new mistress of the novices is raised with every new Amelin. And after Tamra died, and is it Oh, I don't remember the other Amelin's name. Was it Siren? Something like that.
Along those lines.
She was replaced. Merean was replaced as Mistress of the Novices. And then the last one from Ian, for real this time, is Lan would have had a purse, since that was how people carried their coins, the majority of money at this time. Wallets would have been for bank or promissory notes. Joe, you had made a comment about being surprised that Lan would be using a purse, but I suspect you were just trying to be funny and trying to conjure an image of Lan with a handbag, like a modern day handbag.
The key word there being trying to be funny.
I was with you.
All right, thanks, man.
Vil.
Coin pouch.
A coin pouch.
Yes.
There we go. Yes. A very manly
there was
coin
no
pouch.
Notes. There's no notes.
Yes.
There was
No,
letters of
like
rights
little letters of rights
coin.
and stuff. So maybe, yeah. All right. Thank you again, Ian. That's 2 thank yous. So 1 thrown under the bus, 2 thank yous. 2 of them cancel each other out, so you end with just a thank you. Thank you. Then Joe, Queen of Swords, writes in and says, "Hello again, guys. Long time no write, but I've been faithfully listening. Thank you for steadfastly producing this podcast. I appreciate every word, and I'm thrilled to have your company on my reread. And thanks to Adrian for recommending y'all to me all those years ago in the Age of Legends. Like one of your other readers mentioned, I read the short story, but not the full novel. Not sure why or what happened. I probably just thought the novel was an independent publication of the short story and never sought it out. I'm enjoying the New Spring novel for the first time reading along with you." Cool. What a nice little bonus for Joe, Queen of Swords. This may be a little late, but there are some thoughts on this log that occurred to me while trying to explain it to a friend. And my note is never too late to address my favorite crusade, Joe. Let's see if she agrees with me or not. The slog begins after the halfway point in the grand story. Readers might expect the story to begin its journey to a conclusion at that point. As readers, we are able to feel the overinflation of the story beyond its rational bounds. It feels like filler, like a balloon with too much air in it about to burst, or a soup with too much water. A lot of good imagery here. Instead of following any of the main characters or even secondary characters, we are getting into the weeds of things that don't ultimately affect the end very much, and getting POVs from characters we've barely ever met. It feels a bit like misdirection, and on that, I used to think that all these portions of the books were the result of Robert Jordan's mind beginning to fail because of his illness. But then reading New Spring, assuming they were written in the same order they were published, which I think they were, I think the inflation of the story has to have been a choice. And I wonder, looking back on how I felt reading it, if the point wasn't to make the reader despair and lose hope before the ultimately victorious ending. Didn't you guys guess something like that as well? Yes, that is like the cornerstone of Vili's thesis, right? Like that was what he was sort of driving at. It's like this is actually being inflicted on us on purpose. Joe continues with, "I often think a condensed version of the series wouldn't be terrible, so long as the original remained for the diehards and might appeal to even more readers."
Correct.
I would say yes. I think a condensed version would appeal to today's youth who are unable to read anything thicker than a exam paper.
We need to condense the story and release it to them in TikToks.
In TikToks, or I mean, I'm sorry, I've got kids who are youths. It's vast. You look at these books, and I very, very much encourage my middle boy Jamie, who's now at that age of reading, to jump off graphic novels, which he, without fail, like he follows this Wings of Fire animated series that's also in novel form. And I've gotten him now to actually pick up the novels, and I bought all of them for him a while ago already.
Cool.
So yes, I think it would be great to have that, but I do fear that we are falling into the abyss by getting rid of a lot of words.
Yes. Well
Put your
said.
hand up.
Yes. Books for kids.
Joe, Queen of Swords, also had like a long section in her email here about the show and enjoying the show and everything. And I'm not going to delve into all of that. I love that she loves it. But our feelings and thoughts about the TV show on Amazon Prime are well documented and even in video format on YouTube. But Joe ended her message with, "Moiraine and Siuan were totally in love. Fui to the folks who say they weren't and that it was made up for the show. Looking forward to more. As always, sleep well and wake. Joe, parentheses, Queen of Swords. That's an interesting observation because that's obviously what the creators of the show sort of latched onto, is this relationship between Siuan and Moiraine. And after reading Joe's email, I actually noticed a couple things in the last few chapters that, sorry Joe, kind of like contradict that theory, but we'll discuss it when we get there.
I picked up on the same thing. I have no doubt that they were in love, that they loved each other deeply.
Oh, 100%.
Yes. A huge connection. There's no doubt about that, they are, put it in a ill way, first sisters. But I don't think they were the intimate jumping in bed at occasion.
Or maybe even that there was a time in one of the earlier episodes, I think after they passed the test for the shawl, I think Moiraine thinks something like she could have kissed Siuan and did, and that was sort of like kind of suggestive about them, actually making out. But yeah, we'll get to your chapter. There's a
lot in there.
Pretty significant comments made, like more than once actually, toward the end. That was a bit of cold water on that theory. But I mean, everyone can have their own headcanon. We sure as hell do, as we prove time and time again. So thanks for that, Joe.
I'm just upset at the show for putting other people's faces in who was my head person. And Moiraine has gotten lost. Some of them just did not manage to break through into my head. But for some reason, whenever I read Moiraine now, I see, what's the actress' name?
Rosamund Pike.
Yes, Rosamund Pike. And I'm like, no, that's not right. Erase that. Get rid of it. Lan, definitely not.
No.
Big eraser.
Then Adam McKinnon sends in this brief message. He goes, hey, as someone from Prince Edward Island, I'd just like to say I appreciate the Anne of Green Gables shout out on the last episode.
He's from Prince Edward Island? I used to work with the guy from there.
Really? They probably know each other, because
they do. Do you know Alison, who has racehorses? He used to teach at Prince Edward Island University. He was a lecturer there, business studies or entrepreneurship or something.
Okay, well, there's about 180,000 people that live on Prince Edward Island. I went and read up about it.
Got to know each other.
Totally makes sense.
There's not a lot.
Check it out, Adam. Go find Alice. Alison? Is it Alison?
Alison. Yeah.
Okay.
We connected because we both have girls' names.
Okay.
No. We're in the same business venture together. But anyway.
Nice. Then Scott Wilson comes back from the dead with this little gem. He goes, hi guys, Scott Wilson here. I'm a little behind, so you may have addressed this already when talking about if Cadsuane knew that the dragon was reborn. I remember that during the party in the woods in Tyr, that Cadsuane was thinking back about the registers she had in her life. Top among them was not finding out what Caroline Damodred's cousin was up to in the Borderlands 20 years ago. Obviously referring to Moiraine. Cheers. Great pickup, Scott.
That is fantastic.
I remember Cadsuane having
that
thought and us maybe even commenting on it. I mean, I don't want to lie about it, but like I feel like that was certainly noticed at the time. And that certainly would indicate that she does not know about the Dragon Reborn's rebirth.
For me, that's like irrefutable. Like there's no idea then that she knew at that point in time.
Then a couple of days later, Scott followed up with another message saying, just finished New Spring, and one thing I never really thought about was how not only was Lan supposed to be the king, or be a king, but Moiraine should have been a queen. They're quite a pair. Almost all nobility is trying to move up, and these two were running from that to a higher purpose. My favorite moment was Moiraine stabbing the Black Sister in the back, and Villy, your Dark One, has got to pick smarter, less arrogant people next time around.
Yeah, we've got a problem with the picking pools sometimes.
I feel like it's almost like entry criteria, right? Like be arrogant to be a Darkling. Okay, now, Villy, this is the message that I'm pretty sure you've been waiting for the whole time. The one that came through on Discord from Lee Ray when she scolds me in the following message.
I love it. chef's kiss. Here we go.
She says, "Okay, Mo, Mr. King of Pedantry, I have a bone to pick with you. I finally caught up to you in episode 101 where you guys talked about the very first message I ever sent you, and you got it all wrong. Allow me to take you back to the fires of heaven for a minute. Min, Swan, and Leanne have just arrived in Saladar with Gareth Bryan right behind them. Min has that viewing that tells her that Swan and Gareth need to stay close to each other. I told you in my message that you guys had missed talking about it. In episode 101, you said, and I quote, I do admittedly sometimes gloss over some of the viewings from Min, just because I feel like we already know what they're alluding to. In point of fact, you didn't gloss over Min's viewing, or say that you knew what the viewing was about. You didn't even mention it. And before you say, we must have covered it in a later podcast, no, you didn't. I kept waiting for someone else to call you out on it, but no one ever did. As a matter of fact, the first and only time you mentioned that particular viewing is in episode 101 when I called you on it in the first place. So Mo, turn that spotlight away from Villy and Jody and take your lumps from them as they have so often taken from you. I hope you guys appreciate Mo being in the hot seat for a change."
This brings me much joy.
Applause.
Golf clap.
Like I said in Discord, I don't know where this narrative about me not owning my mistakes comes from. I often call myself out for misspeaking and getting things wrong. I don't just cry about Villy, but I think what happens is because Villy and Jody don't get to do it to me, they probably feel like they're missing out on the joy of correcting a friend's Wheel of Time
I
knowledge.
generally, after a recording, go to bed and cry a little bit.
That's not true.
No, Villy does it during the podcast. He'll always get up and say, I'm going to go get water or some excuse. But you can hear him chunking
When
in
he
the
comes
background.
back, his eyes are all red.
All red.
I blame it on other stuff, but it's really because I was crying outside.
Dust.
As a final note on that one, I will just say that was a Villy chapter that he summarized, so I'm going to share some of the blame with Villy. Oh!
Immediately proves us right. Okay, nice.
Anyway, Leray continues. She says, oh, and another thing. Later in the same episode, you guys asked me if I thought Lan could smell a burnt fade. No, I never thought he could smell a burnt fade, but I always believed that he could sense the one that had come after Matt and Rand in Whitebridge. I had always believed it was something tied to the water bond because Lan does the same thing when he rescues Moiraine from that Drakkar in the west. And yes, I mean, the burnt fade thing is a running joke that we've been making for years now. And
I still believe he can smell a burnt fade.
And we know that the waters can sense shadow spawn. Then Lee continues with one last thing. I have a vague memory of hearing somewhere that RJ had been working on one of these books and then realized that it was going to be way too long and decided to split the book he was working on into 2 books. I'm wondering if Crossroads of Twilight is one of those books. That would explain the lack of a major event in Crossroads of Twilight. If Crossroads of Twilight and Winter's Heart were originally one book, I don't think Crossroads of Twilight would have been such a drag to get through. Thoughts? So I went and I checked because I also remember RJ sort of saying, I thought it was Memory of Light. He said, I'm going to finish a Memory of Light. If it's 2,000 pages, that's going to be the last book.
Yeah.
So I went all the way back to the beginning. Robert Jordan originally planned the series of The Wheel of Time as a trilogy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I remember that.
Crazy. Then later, after Crossroads of Twilight, RJ planned to finish the series in just 2 more books. Knife of Dreams and A Memory of Light, no matter how long the final book turned out to be. He wrote Knife of Dreams, but died before he could write and finish A Memory of Light. But Brandon Sanderson finished A Memory of Light, and with consultation with Harriet and Tor, made the call to split A Memory of Light into 3 books instead of one giant one. And I feel like A Memory of Light is still massive, right? Like it is still a large book. Yeah, and he split it into 3. So, pretty cool. And then one question from Lee is, the worms in the blight, the Jumara. I remember one of the Forsaken saying that they will never evolve or something similar. What do you think their final state would have been, and what would they have looked like? And what she's alluding to is Samael, who mentions that those found in the blight are called worms and are fully grown, but will never transform, quote unquote. The conditions to trigger the transformation are not known, and therefore neither can the reason this will never occur for those living in the blight. I don't know what that means. Thanks, Fandom Wiki, for just confusing me again with your almost AI generated text, but the gist of it is the Jumara in the blight are never going to transform because no one knows what the trigger is to transform them into their final form. I mean, they could be anything.
Are they fireworms?
Quite obviously Shia Lut. Like,
No, I think their final form is
Massive.
dragons, like actual dragons. That's
Aren't they?
where the word comes
yeah,
from.
maybe. I mean, they use the word dragon in the story, but there's no mention of an actual dragon.
Because that's a throwover from these things that
could be. That's an interesting thought.
they're fire worms, and worms with like a WYRM. Them, I believe it's pronounced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be cool. Anyway, as always,
cool.
I love listening to the podcast. I'm so glad I found you. I should catch up with you by episode 107, and then I'll be able to comment on more current events in the books. Maybe I can finally get my thoughts in order so I can put forth my theories about the last battle and about Matt's dice. Until then, keep up the good work. I'll be listening with my tongue hanging out until I catch up. Sincerely, Lee Ray. Thanks, Lee.
You're welcome to shit on Mo anytime, Lee.
Yes,
go for it.
just- we need someone to pull him into line sometimes, because when we pull him into line, he just edits it out.
I do have
We've
the
done it
power,
plenty of times.
yes.
You just don't know.
Yes. Okay, last listener contribution here then from old friend of the show, Gary, who sends in this illuminating dose of science. Hi guys, I was listening to Gerald's email in episode 105 where he asked about how healing works in the series and how it causes ravenous hunger in a person who is healed. I'm an ICU nurse by profession, so I'm always impressed by RJ's take on the healing process and is the main reason Nynaeve is my favorite character. It's nice synchronicity, yeah. You guys were on the right track. Healing is a metabolically intensive process that places enormous caloric requirements on the patient, about 30 calories per kilogram of body weight per day. Especially the severely injured, where a high catabolic state results in metabolic derangement, massive weight loss, and muscle wasting. A few years ago, we lost a burn patient to profound malnutrition because we just couldn't keep up with his caloric requirements, even though he was being fed 24 hours a day. So no, Mo, not a good way to lose weight. You don't just burn fat, you burn everything. Also, Villy was onto something. It is a form of debt, not unlike how strenuous exercise results in oxygen debt, characterized by a buildup of painful lactic acid in the muscles. I imagine RJ's healers using the one power to rapidly redirect stored energy, or ATP, into mending damaged tissues, causing an energy deficit. These ATP stores can only be replenished with food and lots of it. 3 chickens are a good start. Fantastic listeners always. Keep up the good work, Gary. Amazing.
Whoa. That is so good. I mean, wow.
Thanks for
Info
that, Gary.
dump. There we go.
Epic.
When science and fantasy collide, you get
Only
Gary.
here at Blood and Ashes. The only place it can ever happen.
Only.
Come here. Tell your friends. All right. So, speaking of amazing contributions, sit back, relax, and enjoy my recounting of previously on Blood and Ashes. Moiraine heads into the city to bank her annual 1,000 gold from the tower when she learns that a Cairnian man calling himself Gorthanus asks the bank to show him Moraine's financials under the guise of an order from the Emerlin. The banker, Mistress Dormail, being familiar with the Emerlin's signature, recognized this one as fake and detained the man, but he managed to escape before the tower guard could collect him. Mistress Dormail had sent a letter to Moiraine in the tower detailing all this, but Moiraine never received it. She knows the Hall is planning to put her on the Sun Throne and realizes she needs to put plans in place to disappear if she wants to avoid that fate. She and Siuan later buy some custom-made dresses from a renowned dressmaker. Moiraine orders 20 to be delivered to the White Tower so as to quell any concern about her leaving the city, but orders another 4 riding dresses to be made and kept for collection in case she needs to book it. I just realized I think I said 5 earlier, now I said 4, so here's another callback for Mr. Pedantry.
I wasn't paying attention, sorry.
In the ensuing days, Moiraine and Siuan learn the water bonding weave and other Blue Ajah weaves and are set their tasks of distributing the Amerlin's bounty and studying under Satalia Sedaya respectively. Not long after, both Elid and Sherim are summoned to test for the shawl, and Sherim passes and chooses the Blue Ajah, but Elid never returns from the test. Not long after that, it is announced that Tamra has died in her sleep and that Siren is the new Amerlin seat. Siren excuses Moiraine from her task of overseeing the payment of Tamra's bounty, but orders Moiraine to stay in the city. Moiraine immediately says goodbye to Siuan, picks up her dresses and leaves the city via boat. She sees Gorthanus watching her boat leave the harbour. Meanwhile, Lan and Bukama reach Kanloom. After some friction at the city gate, they make their way into the city looking for an inn to stay in. Despite likely being welcomed at the ruling lord's abode, they find an inn and an old acquaintance, Rain Venomar, Rain tells Lan his Carnera, Lady Eden Errol, has been talking about raising the Golden Crane and building up some support for Lan. Lan heads out to the stable to think, and after Bukama checks in with him, they are attacked by 6 swordsmen. Bukama, having sworn not to draw his weapon within the city walls, is ordered by Lan to retreat to the stables, and Lan faces the 6 assailants alone. He kills them all, much to the surprise of everyone that comes outside to see what the fuss is about. Rain says these 6 attackers were present when Lady Edian spoke to the people about the Golden Crane, and Lan assumes she must have sent them. They decide to go to Chachin to face her. Moiraine is also in Canloom now, 3 months after leaving the tower. She's following leads from her notebook, but finds the current one a dead end. Back at her inn, there are 5 other sisters that do not recognize her, but soon after 3 more arrive, and they definitely do. Merean, Laurel, and Catswain pull her into a private dining room and grill her about why she's out here by herself. Moiraine manages to hide her true purpose, but Catswain orders her to travel with Merean and Laurel so they can keep an eye on her. Back in the common room, Moiraine spots Siuan furtively looking in through the door. She follows her into a narrow alleyway, and Siuan tells her that all of Tamra's searchers for the Dragon Reborn are dead. Malin specifically was announced as having died in her sleep, but Siuan was in her room all night and knew this to be untrue. They conclude that the Black Ajah must exist and is actively intervening in the search for the Dragon Reborn. They decide Siuan will travel to Chachin immediately and Moiraine will follow as soon as possible, which she does the next morning. It's still dark when she gets to the city gates, which are still closed, and sees Lan, Bukama, and Rain waiting to leave as well. She follows them on the road to Chachin, and when they stop near the end of the day and split up, Moiraine follows Lan into the forest. She finds him meditating and tries to separate him from his sword, but it doesn't work and he dumps her in the pond. He then pulls her out and hangs up some blankets so she can get dry and changed, and the other 2 Malkieri return. Moiraine claims the right of a woman alone, and Bukama swears a strong oath to protect her until they get to Chachin. Later that night, during a guard change, Moiraine uses the 1 power to dump a bunch of water on Lan. She comes clean and tells them she's Aes Sedai, but Lan just goes back to his watch, and the others go to sleep. Which brings us to today's chapters, starting with chapter 20, called Breakfast in Manala. Vil, let's break our fast of chapter summaries with your summary.
Traveling the world, because we've been in Cancun and now we're in Manila. Manala. And breakfast time. Carrying on exactly where we left on. It's the next morning. Lan, as I assume, dried out right now, and they backing up at the camp. Moiraine finally names herself as the Lady Elise, and Lan has doubts about her name, as well as doubts about her truly being an Aes Sedai because of her childish ways. That's not going to change soon for you, Lan. Bite on with it. Dane is occupying the majority of Lan's thoughts. Some of them is Moiraine there to watch him? Is she part of the plot against him? Also, is he going to be killed by her? There's a lot of questions around Edain and her true intention with Lan. Lan also gets a reprimanding from Bukama, who seems to be a solid, old-school values man, about his take on Moiraine. No breakfast for them. Up in the saddle quick and early. They get onto the road. Because they are going to, and Moiraine tells them on the way, they're going to have a stop at Manala and they're going to have a hot meal over there. So they don't need to prove themselves real men and fall out of their saddles halfway through the day from hunger. They enter the city and they find there's a lot of Beltane festivities going on. However, the festivities still sees very armed, heavily armed men, and they are reminded why it is like that, because there's 6 Trolloc heads on spikes at the gates, and Moiraine has a long hard stare at them, and she mentions to Lan, and wow, I can't imagine facing these guys with just a sword. And Lan then is like, oh well, have you faced Trollocs before? And she has. And she's able to say it, so it must be really real, which opens a whole can of what is real and what can be lied about and what can be, because, she didn't say, yes, I did, but it was in a dream.
It can kill you.
It can kill you. Yeah, so I guess, yes, interesting. Any which way.
There were real consequences to her facing those Trollocs.
That's 100% true, 100% right. But it's a stark reminder to where they are. They are in the north, on the Blight's doorstep, where raids is a daily occurrence. Lan comments or thinks to himself, like, the raid couldn't have been successful because there's the lack of smell of burning down houses and all the rest. So he didn't smell a burnt fade, nor did he smell a burnt inn. Now they get to an inn called the Ploughman's Blade. They order food. They decline accommodation, and the innkeeper references Moraine's hanger-ons as her retainers. She does not correct them. Lan is not best pleased about this. I mean, come on, it's a Lan. It's not a retainer. But Moiraine has a food. She gets up and leave. And at that point where Ryan says, hey, no, the horse is still there, but shouldn't we just maybe get out of this? Like, let's duck and weave away from this. But Lan and Bukama will have none of this. This is not their style. They might not trust her, but they have got, honor and integrity that they will keep on. But through all of this, Edain is still very much in Lan's thinking, with a lot of words that come out on page around that and her involvement. Lan then decides to leave the table and just go and see what she's about and what she's getting up to. He spots her speaking with some villagers and overhears about a woman that she's after. She then sees Lan, or she knew he was there all along by the power or whatever, and she reprimands him for eavesdropping on Aes Sedai and tells him what will happen the next time he does that. He offers her then to look for this woman because it will speed up things, because he too has got things he needs to get to at Chachin. Yeah, that's right.
Chachin.
Yeah.
As the French would say.
Anyway, Lan then decides that she says, you forget that name, declines the offer, get back to the inn, go have another bowl of porridge, stew, whatever. So Lan returns to Bukama, tells him what he has learned, and that is the end of this chapter. Nice, quick, easy.
You, Joseph, what you got? Give us the juicy goodies. Nah,
no
there's a couple chapters like this, right? It's just like going through the motions. Yeah. Very, very action.
They are traveling.
Yeah.
And don't want to be traveling together.
I had a couple of chuckles because Lan thinks of Moiraine as a strange little woman. And then later he thinks...
not wrong.
Aes Sedai and Kyrinian? There could be no worse combination.
I have a note about that in my chapters, yes.
The question I have there, Rain, obviously, at this point in time, Dark Friend, we know this. Does he think maybe running away from her could give him an opportunity to offer and then run away?
I think he's got his orders from
Merean.
Merean, yes. So maybe he's just eager to get on with his Dark Friend business.
And already back at Canloon.
Yeah.
So I think he is looking for an opportunity here already that is like, okay, cool, maybe I can just offer now over here. And that's part of our running away from her trick.
Rain doesn't know Moiraine is following them. Like, when he got his orders were to stay with Lan. Because he lives with Lan. They don't know Moraine's going to be following them. So his dark friendly plans have something to do with Lan and not Moiraine.
Or not even Lan, but like something in Chachin, right? Like where Edain is, and as we know, Merean is sort of like meddling with the royalty there and stuff. Like, who knows what Merean has sent Rain to do. Like, traveling with Lan might be happenstance, but I take your point, Joe. Like,
convenient,
not Moiraine
opportunity.
No.
Yeah. He's also a dark friend, so who knows what his intentions with Moiraine might be, right? Like, just straight murder might not be the only thing he's thinking of. He's already made his intentions clear around like what he thinks of her.
Yes. First thing, oh look, a naked lady behind a towel. I should go and fuck with that.
I want some of that,
dude.
Yeah,
in front of Bukama and Lan,
who bears his steel at Rain, right?
Like, what are you doing, Rain?
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, I forgot I was you guys aren't dark friends as well. Sorry.
What else did I have here? I had a couple notes. So they could have made it to Manala the day before, but stopping in the forest was to ascertain whether she wanted anything to do with them in particular. So they specifically split up. Like they have breakfast in Manala, right? Like so, like the next morning they only ride for a short time and then they're there. So they could easily have made it the night before into town on time, but they wanted to see what Moraine's story was, so they decided to send Lan into the forest. I also have here, trust Lan to notice that the merchant guards are being lax in their duties, looking over their shoulders instead of keeping watch like they should be. Like he can't turn off like his just military mind. This town, they describe dancing from the locals as upright dancing with feet flashing. Is that also conjuring river dance?
Oh yeah,
just
100%.
for you guys?
What is that? What is that type of dancing called? Irish
Jig?
I don't know.
Call back for Mo.
No, are you thinking
Foot.
there's a Scottish one on the crossed swords? What is that? That's also.
Ah,
Oh, Joe, you know this one. You spent time in Scotland.
I did, and I should.
And Ireland, you should know all of this. You should have gone.
I
to
should
the
know
shows.
everything. I know everything.
You
It's
should
just
be the Lord of the
filed
River
away.
Dance. Michael Flatley over here should be telling us everything.
You should see my flashing feet. Caber dance or something.
Saber?
Isn't it? No, caber.
Caber is the log. Caber toss, isn't it? Like that's the big log tossing thing.
Isn't that not the Kyber? No, that's a crystal. From Star Wars.
Kyber crystal Star Wars.
The Kyber dance.
While you look that up, Jody, because I can see you itching to do it.
Okay.
I'll just
Let's
say
see what
that
Google AI tells us. Something bizarre and unrelated.
it's the most commonly found dance in the northern oceans.
Some TikTok dance.
When Moiraine leaves the inn without them noticing, Lan's eyebrows rose in admiration in spite of himself. Like she caught Lan by surprise, which is great. But never get tired of women upstaging Lan in terms of sneaking and being aware. When Moiraine hears Lan, when he's actively trying to be quiet, he nearly blinks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Nearly.
dude. You better rein those emotions in, buddy. This Irish dance is just called a step dance, according to Google.
And the Scottish one?
I'll do the Scottish one. Still checking.
Scottish one's got a name for sure.
Highland sword dance. This is very disappointing.
Oh no. Okay, I'll take the call back.
Oh Jesus! It's the Geely Callum.
Oh man, what? No, that's also not what I'm looking for. I'm gonna go make something up.
I wanted. Yeah, the truth is very disheartening. That's not what I wanted to hear.
Okay, those are all the notes that I had. Joe, you're all done.
This is my turn.
We can move along then, yes, to chapter 21 called Some Tricks of the Power. Joe, can you use your powers of summary to give us a recap?
Yeah. I mean, I could try. I'm
all we
not a
ask.
very all-powerful summarizer. All right. So, tricks of the power. Yeah, Lan was expecting a shitty ride to Chachin, and he was right. It most definitely is. They are riding hard. Everyone is broke, so they can't sleep in inns, and some nights they can't even find a barn to sleep in. Moiraine continues her search for the Sahara woman, because that's who, and we might need to recap on this. Mm-hmm. Her and Siuan talked about this, like splitting up, and Siuan going ahead, and she's gonna look for this Sahara woman that's next on their list. Mm-hmm. Stopping in every little village, which is not making their trip very easy. Lan and them are like, oh fuck, we have to stop again in this village, and Moiraine takes her time asking questions of everybody. So every time they approach her as well, while she's doing her questioning, they get the frosty eye. Except for Rain, who she seems to love, giggling at all of his jokes and touching him on the shoulder, and blah, 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 and he's loving it. They aren't allowed to ask her any questions about what she's doing, but she gets to question them about everything all the time. And they are just like, no, we're not going to tell you anything. They also give her the frostiness because a man's past is his own. And it's for the people who lived it with him and no one else's business. And super stoic. Yeah, we get it. Yeah, so wrong guys to be asking about their past. One night, they are hit by a massive storm, so Lan starts preparing a shelter under some trees. He's going to put some blankets between the branches, and Moiraine's like, no, hold my beer, dude. We don't need to do any of this, and makes a cool dome over them while they ride, with the rain and hail just bouncing off them in silence. They see some bandits along the way, but like a lot of little bands popping out of the forest. Check them out, see 3 Malkieri with arrows knocked and go, we don't fancy our chances against these O's. But on the 4th day, their luck runs out with the bandits, and they are accosted by around 50 men in one party, who do fancy their chances against 3 Malkieri with arrows knocked and 1 woman. Like, who knows, you know? They think it's just these guys protecting her. But the men don't just attack, they want to talk first. Apparently their leader wants to avoid any bloodshed. Just give them the cash and the ladies' jewels. Put down your swords, and then we'll let you be. And Lan's like, no, you're going to slit our throats if we put down our swords. So while Lan is busy playing out scenarios in his head about how he's going to take all of these guys out, and probably not. But that's when Moiraine whips out her loudspeaker weave again. She loves this thing. You dare impede an Aes Sedai, surrender or face my wrath. She's got some really cool lines here. Fire weaves and exploding in the background. The horses are freaking out, but their leader, the bandit leader, is committing. He is like, no, we can do it, guys. But his men are like, no, we can't, and they run away. So he's like, shit, I got to run away too. Everybody just scatters. So Lan isn't budging either. Before they scatter, that is. Lan gives them a count to 10 as well. He's like, listen, we're not budging. You're not budging. I'm going to count to 10. Then I'm going to start killing people. But they run away in the end. I jumped ahead of my notes a little bit there. I got all excited. Moiraine is pissed because she didn't want them to run away. She wanted some action. Like, she's like, if they had attacked, the 3 oaths would have allowed me to, use what I've learned in action, for the first time out in the real world. And those men needed to face justice, like who else have they robbed and killed, with this 50 of men? But Lan and Bukama and Rain are all like experienced fighters, and they were like taking turns to convince her, like, listen, woman, don't know what you think you can do, but the odds were seriously against us. We would not have survived that, channeling or no channeling. 50 against 4, even if one is an Aes Sedai, is terrible odds. She doesn't like this, but anyway, she doesn't really know anything. She's first time out in the real world. Moiraine continues to be a real dickhead with Lan, every night tormenting him in a new way. Throwing water on him that first night was the least of his worries. If only he could have had that every night. She fills his clothes with sand one night. She makes the ants attack him. One other night, then she's flicking him with switches of air every time he falls asleep so he stays awake. But Lan just takes it in silence. He figures it's her revenge for him dunking her in the pond, because according to some Borderland rules, a woman can set whatever price for her insult or injury that she wants, and the only person that can tell her to stop is another woman if they see her going too far, and there are no other women, so he just has to suck it up, and off he goes.
And I bet you she knows this. She probably read it somewhere, and she's like, ha ha, ha ha.
No one could stop me. No, she's just trying to, because we now figure out from her point of view exactly what she's after and what she's thinking. So we learn she's after some recompense. She wants some remorse from him for dunking her in the water and an apology, perhaps. I was like, good luck waiting for that. It's never going to come. They are 2 very different people from very different backgrounds who have very different beliefs and expecting the other one to behave like them, and it's never going to happen. But of course, she, like the bandit leader earlier, is committed. But she does not get Borderlanders or men in general, especially these very stereotypical stoic men. So it turns out she has been questioning them to try and figure out if any of them are dark friends. Not so subtle, but again, the wrong guys to be asking all these questions. So she still has no idea if she can trust them or not, and who they are, and what their histories are, or anything about them, really. She continues her questioning, though, and she has wards around each of them every night, which is why she's not sleeping, because every time they move, she wakes up. And then she sees Lan, and she flicks him with a bit of air as well, so he can wake up too. So if she's awake, you're awake. 2 days before reaching Chachin, In a village called Ravinda, she finally finds the Sahara woman that she's been looking for. This woman's out in plain sight because she's using her 100 gold crowns to build an inn called the White Tower. But it's all for nothing. She speaks to her. The child was born a week before Guitar's foretelling, so it's like, no, never mind. This isn't the one. We're going to move on. Lan and the boys are happy because she was quick this time, and she overhears Rain talking about this. They're all like, oh, thank God. This is a fast one we can get on now. So she's angry again. So she starts thinking up punishments for Lan for that night, and the rest of them as well. I think tonight everyone can get punishments. But she can't think of anything worse than what she's already done until a wasp buzzes by her. So she goes, there's an idea. So she asks Lan, riding up ahead, like, hey, are you allergic to wasp stings by any chance? And he's like, what the fuck? And he turns around because he needs to find out what's happening. And of course, she asks because she doesn't want to kill him if he's allergic. So when he's turning in response to her question, an arrow thunks into his shoulder. She embraces the source, and she feels like she's back in the test, ready for action. She's like, finally, some action in the field. Shields up. Lan first, then her, in that order, notably. Not even she knows why. I know. With her 1-power eyesight, she scans the trees and finds the perpetrator and wraps him in air just as Rain and Bukama's arrows strike him in the chest. They didn't need 1-power eyes to find him. They dismount, Lan ignoring the arrow sticking out of him, and approach the would-be assassin. It's that dude I mentioned several weeks back in a previous recording, Keniandrin, I pronounce him as. They know him. Bukama's like, why, Keniandrin, why? And he's like, well, gold, of course, in his dying breaths, gargling blood. Gold is why. He also says that he, referring to whoever hired him, could have told him that Moiraine was an Aes Sedai instead of just to kill her first. Upon hearing this, Moiraine dismounts, ready to heal him. She's like, what the fuck, somebody hired you to kill me first? She's like, oh, this is Gorthanis, This could be him. But by the time she gets there, saying like, hey, pull the arrows out of him, let's heal him, they're like, dude, he's dead. He's already a goner. So she searches his body for clues, but there really aren't. None. All she finds is a half-eaten piece of cheese covered in lint. Like, dude, come on. At least put your cheese somewhere else. Wrap it in some cheesecloth. I'm sure that exists. There's a cloth specifically for this. His coin purse contains 10 gold crowns, though. So she's like, my life is the same price as a dress in Tar Valon. And the coins are from Kyrian, stamped with the Kyrenian sunburst. So this is 100% Gorthanis, which at the end takes us back to our theory about what he wants. If he wants to kill her first, this is just confirming our not the Hall of the Tower guy. No, definitely I'm going to go with, who did you say? House Rioton? Let's just blame House Rioton. Yeah. We don't like them, so it's their fault. Yeah. Somebody is trying to get rid of her. So yeah, she's going through all of his shit, and Lan asks if she's robbing the dead, while Rain and Bukama are removing the arrow from his shoulder. He takes it like a champ, obviously. His reaction to an arrow being yanked out of his body is a blink. This time he blinks. It's almost a blink earlier. This is what it takes to make him to blink. So they remove his cloak and his shirt and starting to patch him up, and she is shocked by how many scars and wounds that he has all over his body. Half-healed, long-gone scars, new scars. He's covered. He doesn't ask for healing, so eventually she just offers it, but when she reaches out, he pulls back and he's, don't touch me, witch. But Bukama makes him take healing. He's like, hey man, tomorrow you may need that sword arm, referring... I thought at first to just like, yeah, that's his life. You're going to need that sword arm regardless. But he's nudge winking his Carnera chick tomorrow. He's going to need that arm. He reacts visibly to the healing. Finally. That satisfies Moiraine. Like, this man is actually human. Throwing his arms back, gasping like everybody else that gets healed. So she's like, sweet. He can now meet the wasps in full health. They leave Keniadrin's money on the ground. They want nothing of the dead man, but free his horse. Lan removes the bridle so that he can feed until someone finds him. He can go eat some grass. His kindness to the animal makes her postpone her wasp plans for tonight. You get 1 night off. But she still has 2 more days on the road with him anyway, so plenty of time for more torture. And that's how the chapter ends.
Sure. Have we read about this Merean guy before?
Yes, I mentioned him.
Did you?
In my last chapter, yes. Well, in a previous recording, but it's been like 4 weeks now, so...
Where did we see him?
Don't ask me. He was in the first town where they met Rain.
Canloon.
Where he killed Canloon, yes. Either he was... I think he was in the inn, or he was at the gate when they met him, or something. I have the companion here.
Was he the guy that Bukama was sort of like annoyed by, or that Lan thought ordinarily this guy would annoy Bukama?
I think that this kid may be too young for that, but a lot annoys Bukama, so
okay.
Could be.
Cool. Phil, did you have anything you wanted to add there?
No, I mean, it's a lot of torture being had on land from all angles. Arrow angles, ant angles, black fly angles, angles. It's just... but the method of pulling out the arrow was quite descriptive and quite interesting. Like taking a leather strap, strapping around the arrowhead, and just sort of, I envision it putting a foot to his chest and just saying, heave, heave, and there out it pops.
Yeah.
And blink. A Kandori soldier who was in Lan's company at the end of the Aiel War. Though young, he was an efficient and experienced soldier, an archer of rare skill, a cheerful killer who often laughed while he fought. Remember him now?
Okay. So he wasn't in Canloom. He was with Lan at the end of his campaign.
Yeah. So we have read about him.
Right. Okay. Huh. Okay. Cool.
Dude.
Thanks. Missed that.
I have more notes.
Excellent. On this chapter? Let's hear him.
No.
Oh. Okay.
No. I have more notes about what's his face. About this Merean guy. Yes, I'll find them.
Okay.
Carry on.
It was just interesting, like when we had recently spoken about Tam, like establishing a farm out in the forest outside of Emansfield, potentially, like just sort of like claiming some land. Here in the borderlands, there are no isolated farms. The farms are all sort of clumped together because if they were isolated, they would become graveyards sooner or later. It's just everyone.
It's a true story.
Team together.
Isolation is a bad
protection
idea.
From the Trollocs.
The line that Lan gives the bandits, Joe, that sort of like try and face them down in the 50. I think Moiraine or someone tells them that they need to surrender or something along those lines, and then the leader says eventually, "No talk of surrender, though. There are 50 of us and 4 of you." And then Lan goes, "Well and good, but if I can see one of you at the count of 10, it begins." Like he's setting the terms straight up, and it's just so great. Like, even though the 3 of them knew that they were doomed, if this turns into a fight, they're dead. Lan is just like, okay, but if I can see you at 10.
Like the couple of them that fell off the horses when he reached 3, they're like scampering.
They're like still trying to control and then they just leave the horses and then just run off. What else did I have here? Just the note about how Moiraine's instinct is to shield Lan first and then herself.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Human.
It starts. Yeah.
And of course the Malkieri just leave the dead guy's money on the ground.
100%. Like I put myself in that position. I'm like, dude, I can use 10 gold crowns. No honor. I'm taking that money. Yeah.
All right. That's everything from me. Shall we move along to chapter 22 called Keeping Customville? As is customary, please give us a recap.
We are in Chachin. We have reached it, and we're in the head of Lan. And he is heading for the Ayas Daishar, the palace. Very, very big palace for a northern town. I think it's described to be on top of the hill.
Capital, isn't it?
A capital village. City. The city.
Yes.
A very big palace for the city. that takes up so imagine it being sort of a mesa plateau, and the entire top of it is palace, and the surrounds is layers and rings of protection. And as nobility do, they've got their peasants as their human shields right around them. A moat of human beings. The Lan tells Moiraine as they enter, they've kept their pledge, and thank you, and please go, no payment. Just be gone with you, woman. We are
Stop
here.
insulting us.
Yes. He has had enough of fleas and being bitten and black flies, and he doesn't even know where in the hell she finds them at this time of the winter still, because it's way too early for fleas and black flies, but she found them. We are described to the flavors and the smells of the city, from the horses to all of the roasting nuts and festal foods, because Beltane is still in the air. Now Lan knows exactly where Dane will be, and that's what he's making a beeline for on the horse. Everyone makes way for him. He is noted as a Malkieri, so everyone's like, "Oh, trouble!" And he takes Cat Dancer to the palace. The guys don't look great for the arrival at palace. We've now got more blood wounds, more blood over clothes. They're in their third best garbs. But you got to wear what you got and get there.
Where's Nerim when you need him?
Yeah, exactly. No Nerim to sew things up and wash out all these bloodstains. Is going to take some work. And Moiraine doesn't even offer to like channel, like her own dresses, clean and ironed, ready. No, anyway. Lan notes that these are experienced guards as he comes. You can see these aren't toy soldiers. They are real guards. And he simply just walks up to them and say, "I am Lan Mundragoran." Nothing else. And then a captain comes out and opens up and it's just accepted straight in. That's all he needs to say. It's like a password, his name. He is entered in and he feels as if he's walking onto a battlefield. They are taken to Mistress Romero, who is the Chatayan of the palace, and she is in charge of everything palace related and guest related. She shows them to their rooms. Ryan and Bukama gets appropriate lodging for their level, and Lan gets quite stately rooms that comes even with 2 servants who he has got no doubt where their loyalty will lie in a while, but he's very grateful for it any which way. And he asks the Chatayan if the queen is present. The answer to that is no, and followed obviously what he knew the answer to was if Prince Briss is present, and there is a yes to that. With a last follow-up with any other notable people, and the girls laugh already at him because they know what notable he is referring to. And they confirm Dane is there. He is Carniera, and they giggle and blush because they know what it is. They Northerners. They know what the deal is there. Anyway, Lan lets them wash him and press his best clothes that's left over. Not so good, but he gets it. And no sword attached to him. He feels naked. He wants to get this meeting done with the Dane, and he wants it done publicly for his own protection, because he doesn't want to get jumped. You know what I mean? And she doesn't want any of that. She wants him to come and see her in her bedroom. And he runs back to his room, declines the offer, and says he's tired from traveling. She then sends him a written invitation that he should come to me, my sweetling. Come now. No pun intended. Lan burns the letter, much like Rand burns the invitations to all the nobility. Eventually, he gets the call from the prince consort to be received. This is Briss now. In a large formal hall where there's a lot of people, lords, ladies, guildsmen. This is a real noble gathering in a very large palace. And there's notably a lot of people wearing the Hadori. So this um, fly of the golden crane that's been announced by Dane has also pulled people out of the Malkieri woodwork, it would seem. Anyway, Briz is a true shouldered soldier. It's not just a trophy prince. He is a man of experience and have also been in battle with Lan. They've saved each other's lives. There's history there. He's got an 8-year-old son, Derek, and he's super stoked that Lan is there. And the story comes out that he was affected by Lan's luck. Make a note of Lan's luck there. He fell 50 feet. That's a big ass fall, and survived with only bruises and aches and pains. That is notable level luck. He, of course, does the proper introductions to himself and pleasantries, and then sets off. Are they 10 foot tall? Do they murder? Do they eat the young? All the rest. Is the White Tower as large as the mountain? Blah 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 blah. Anyway, Lan takes that all in his stride. He's stoked that he's a legend to the young man and answers his question in a nice down to Q&A up until the point where his dad sends him off to go and tend to his books. This is where Dane enters the room with a large dark eyes set on Lan. She whispers to him that this would have been easier if we could have done it in private, but then immediately takes a knee and swears a solid Malkieri oath to Lan as the king. And to that, applause and cheers erupt in the hall, and songs of golden cranes, and everyone is stoked. They're going to fight, and Kandori will fight, and everyone will fight, and they basically picked a big battle with a blight. They got someone that's going to charge the battle, and everyone is stoked. Brishaver knows Lan, and he sees, whoa, okay, let me take you away from this crowd and this noise, and he takes him to his getaway private long walk, which is a walkway along the cliff edge of this mesa tabletop palace that has a notable high fall, and it's private to him, so there's no one there. And mentions look, he can withdraw all his pleasantries to Edain and basically kick out of the palace, but that's not Lan's style, and he's like, no, leave it, we'll deal with it in a different way. Through all of this, Lan does continuously have that little obnoxious girl in his head, Moiraine. I don't know if it was a trick of the power, but anyway, that night Lan returns to his rooms to find his servants is gone, replaced by Dane, and she tells him to close the door, and he sees his what is it called now? Daori on the in the room in a little box. He immediately recognizes it, and she says to him, "Come to me, bring the trophy thing along." And he says, whoa, you swore an oath to obey me. And she's like, yes, outside this bedroom. Inside this bedroom, I have the scepter, or the hair bangle.
The hair scepter.
Tells the hair scepter. He's got to bring the hair scepter. He brings the hair scepter, and she grabs him by the wrists and pulls him out to the balcony and shows him her daughter, Isala, who is down, I don't know, picking flowers or whatever the heck she was doing in the courtyard. And she tells him that she's now 17 and she has not yet chosen Carnera. So men don't get to choose, woman does all the choosing. And she thinks that it's time for her to marry. And Lan is like, what the shame? You cannot be thinking this, woman, but she is really thinking this, but not tonight. Maybe not this week. Time to get reacquainted. And he can't believe this, and it's the end of that chapter.
Bow, chicka, wow,
Yes,
wow.
indeed.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, this woman's a lot, eh?
She's a lot. Instant dislike.
She reminds me of Berylane.
A little bit.
Yeah, she's kind of pushy like that.
Also, I think she's described as like having long dark hair and stuff, you know, like even her physical appearance, but obviously a fair bit older. Because how old was she? She was in her 30s when Lan was chosen
14?
as her Carnera, or was she in her 30s now?
Yeah.
No, she chose him
was-
as part of her,
When he was 16 and she was 30 something.
in his teens. So
Yeah.
she cut his hair and braided that thing that felt like it's still being regularly oiled and looked after.
Not creepy at all.
Not creep.
Joey. Did you have any other notes there, Joe?
Not on this chapter, but I did on a previous chapter.
Oh, excellent. Callbacks.
Kenedrin. I didn't find it, but I remembered it. Kenedrin is the soldier when they're standing on the line, when they're seeing they're hearing all the trumpets and everything, and they hear about the Aiel
that's
fleeing,
right.
and he goes, oh, maybe they're going back home, and everyone laughs at him. That was the guy.
Okay. And on this chapter, nothing.
Nah.
Okay.
Except creepy old lady
Uh-huh.
trying to pawn her daughter off on this guy, on her lover.
On her lover, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had 4 notes. The first one is the Ice Daishar Palace. Too many words in there that sound familiar. Eyes like Aes Sedai and Daishar like Tai Daishar. The name of the palace is All Glory. So Daishar is glory, like Tai Daishar is Lord of Glory, which is Rand's horse that he stole from Karuna. And Aes Sedai means servant to all,
servant
or something
to
like
all.
that. Yeah. So All Glory, Aes Daishar. Just cool to like, I recognize those words. That's what they mean. Together they mean that thing. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, imagine trying to write that word, because now I'm like, oh, there's a lot of things here, and then there's Daishar. No, it's Daishar. No, isn't it right? What the heck?
I have a note here that Ryan being vain should be a big tip off to his character. Like the fact that he's so interested in himself to the reader's like, oh yeah, this is a guy I should not like. Shocked, Lan travels with silk clothes, including tight black silk breeches. Lan, you sneaky dog. There's a side there that he has not shown us.
Yeah.
It's the Malkieri fashion.
But I mean, tight silk breeches, that's not something you ever see in like the mainline series, right? Like Lan is never dressed up in silks.
He was young. Maybe that was the fashion at the time, you know. Bell-bottom jeans of the series.
Saucy minx.
Yeah, when you get older, you kind of just stick to
His skinny
slacks.
jeans.
Well, yeah, because when he was 8, he was learning the code and about what would face him in the blight. So when he's listening to the little boy who's 8 years old, he's like, shouldn't be too hard on him. But just because when I was 8, I was learning the oneness and what's in the blight that I need to eradicate.
Bakuma was carrying me, and yeah.
Okay, then let's keep a steady march forward then into chapter 23 called The Evening Star. Joe, you're the star of the show now with your summary of chapter 23.
I damn well am. Lan and his buddies running away makes Moiraine smile. This is her point of view. She seems like she did leave an impression on him after all. And we know from his point of view that he can't get her out of his head 100%. Impression made. Just because Lan told her to avoid the bad parts of town, she heads straight to them. She is a child. The inns there would also, just as a side note, be the kinds of places Siuan would choose. So she goes, because she has to go find Siuan. That's what she's doing. Context. So her fur-lined cloak and nice horse draw lots of attention through the areas she's going. At the first inn, she hobbles Arrow with flows of air and heads in. It's a real shithole, as suspected. She asks if Siuan is staying there. She asks not by name, obviously, but by a Terran woman with blue eyes. But the innkeeper doesn't even answer her question. He's just like, you should not be here. Let me go find you someplace else. I don't even want your money. You're going to die tonight. While he's trying to shoo her out, she feels the ward that she left on her horse tingle, so she heads outside to find that someone is trying to steal her horse. She chases her off, eventually. The man says he's never seen a blue-eyed Terran anyway, so this is not the place. So there's a little showdown outside between Moiraine and the woman trying to steal her horse, and eventually the thief flees, blah, blah, blah. I'm reading here that Moiraine rolled a crit on her intimidation check. She doesn't want to use the power, lest she give herself away. She doesn't want to. She wants to just, use her actual human skills. She doesn't want any other Aes Sedai that might be there, because she figures there might be. This is near the palace and everything, the borderlands. She wants to remain incognito, but as the woman runs off, she insults Arrow, telling her that it's a shit horse that she wouldn't want to steal it anyway. And Moiraine forgets all that and channels. Switches her with a flow of air. So much for incognito mode. Moraine's search continues, and the most places try to get her to leave rather than offer her rooms, as in the first one. She is clearly in the wrong place. Until the last inn on that street, where she's almost drugged and sold as a sex slave, I imagine. But Moraine's detective skills save her. They kick in, and she makes the innkeeper drink the drugged wine with a fear weave, leaving the passed-out flesh vendor to the mercies of some vile men in the common room. It's like, Jesus, Moiraine, hardcore.
She is,
like, she's very hardcore blue, eh? All about justice. She wanted those 50 people, those 50 bandits needed to face justice. This woman, she just leaves on the floor drugged. Knowing that bad things are going to be happening to her. Justice. So, all right.
Justice,
the rest of
that. Evil justice.
This is like Judge Dredd justice. The rest of her search isn't much better. More drugging attempts, if you can believe it. Several of them. More horse-stealing attempts. That was to be expected. There's some more air switches and some more fear weaves. I think the fear weaves, like the weave to attract ants and whatnot, are the Blue Ajah secrets, if I recall reading correctly. Yeah, so these are some Blue Ajah weaves that she's learned, coming in super handy on this trip. Thank God she learned them. Eventually, it's Siuan that finds her in the street, running up behind her and grabbing her. Freaking her out. You can't just grab people in this part of town. She says, I figured you would be looking for me here. This is kind of like, you would think this is my part of town. But turns out Siuan actually has a room in a very respectable part of town, in a very respectable inn called the Evening Star. Well guarded by some doormen with cudgels, and mostly frequented by women. And the no-nonsense innkeeper there has no issue with them sharing a room as long as they pay the extra silver penny, or whatever it is. So they fill each other in on what they found on their respective searches, which is diddly squat, really. But Siuan did find this Ines Domain, is the lady that she's been looking for, this potential mother of the Dragon Reborn. Her son's birth circumstances are looking real promising. The only issue is that she is inside the Aes Daishar Palace. Moiraine says, I've got a plan for that. We'll figure it out in the morning. So they talk about the Black Ajah too, what their fears are and what they think is happening. Siuan tells her of a young blacksmith who was collecting money for charity, basically, and was killed. Moraine's like, what's this got to do with anything? And she's like, well, none of the money was taken, and there wasn't a mark on him. So he was killed with the one power is her suspicion, and obviously Black Ajah is in town. Moiraine thinks that she's just seeing Black Ajah everywhere. And well, so are you, woman. Everybody's Black Ajah. You don't know who to trust. Siuan wants to know what Moiraine has planned for tomorrow. How are we going to get into this palace and see this Lady Ines? Moiraine tells her, but it takes the whole night to convince Siuan to go along with this plan, which we will find out later. End of chapter. Moritz, one note. You're allowed one.
New word. Penury.
Penury?
Yeah.
Is that like penmanship?
Extreme poverty.
Ooh. Penury.
Never heard
I
that
don't recall seeing that word.
It's in there, I think. It's where I made my
I
note.
believe you.
Yeah. Cool. A to B to C. La la la. Moving along the story. Let's get to,
Reunited. This is what I did. This is what you did. Cool. Tomorrow we're going there.
Totally.
End of story.
I very much enjoyed the area she was in when they tried to steal a car. I mean, a horse. Bad neighborhood. And as soon as the would-be thief was found out, reprimanded, and switched with air, it got heckled by the crowd. No support. Like, oh, you better get off and out of here. The men in here will eat you for breakfast. Blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of eating women for dinners that's gone around in that area.
Quite. Alrighty. So let's keep this ball rolling. Hey, let's move on to chapter 24 called Making Use of Invisibility. Vil, please make use of a summary to remind us what happened here.
Right, easy. We'll do Moiraine point of view, and they are at the Evening Star, which is the inn in Chachin, and the plan to get into the Ice Dice Shop Palace has been set in motion, much to Swan's dismay. The plan is to get gold. They've got letters of rights, and there is gold. They're going to get dresses, a disguise. But this is actually a disguise that works because they're just dressing up as themselves. Well, for Moraine's part, anyway. And the colors of said disguise is in the colors of House de Mundred. And they will go to the palace as Moiraine de Mundred. Lady Moiraine de Mundred, that is. And Suki. Suki the servant. I love that bit there. Anyway, they need some guards. They ask the innkeeper to get some guards. They get taken. The innkeeper is Eileen Torvina. And they need to go to the banker. She recommends her own personal banker, Camille Noallen. And then also at the pay of a daily wage and a half, they get some cudgel men and a sedan chair, and off they go to get the gold. Moraine's letter of rights get rather heavily scrutinized down to a magnifying glass level. She takes offense at this and is actually a little bit rude to the banker lady as she gets her bags full of loot, and says, oh, do we really need this much protection? Is this place this unsafe? Little snide remarks. Anyway, back to the inn. They have a lockbox at the inn where they can store some of their gold. Asks for the best dressmaker in town. Gets the name of Celine Dormelin, and they head off with one full pouch, but she's expensive. So she just takes one full purse of gold, and she intends to break all propriety with this dressmaker. Remember all the propriety we had the last time round with the top dressmaker?
Unfortunately,
Moiraine this time. Yes. She's going to break all the propriety with this one, and she is going to use the tools of the trade, which is greed and money, to get dresses made in a real quick time, because 1 month waiting time turns into you'll have it the next day. 2 days later, they cart up at the palace gates with their horses in tow, announcing the arrival of Moiraine, Lady Moiraine de Mundred at the Ice Dice Shah Palace. The lady that was making the dresses says, whoa now, a lot of dresses on order at the moment. A lot of woo-ha going with the King of Malkieri in attendance. Moraine's like, ha, what nonsense is this? King of Malkieri's been dead for 20 years, still snuffs at that. Moving on. The rooms are given, no problem at all. Moiraine even says any Aes Sedai in the palace. Suki nearly has a heart attack at that, but very soon realizes that this is the way that they roll in the noble world, and that she's got a lot to learn from Moiraine, and that she truly has all of a sudden become invisible. No one takes note of Suki. Now, Lady Moiraine very much fits in. She is right in her place in the palace. And Suki is set off to find about Lady Ines and her baby. Now, unfortunately, Lady Ines is in mourning for her husband who has died. He was an old man. She married up. And she was actually quite fond of him. She's taken to a month of mourning. No one in, no one out. Even the servants don't leave a lot, which was easy to find out for Suki. So she had a little bit of kissy on the side with Cal, who is the servant boy that gave her all this information. Moiraine then says, well, she'll see an Aes Sedai. And to this, Siuan is having a near heart attack. Anyway, at that moment, the Chatayan summons Moiraine for introductions to the prince. And Suki says she'll use this time for more kisses with Cal, the man servant.
Snooping, not kisses, Villy.
Yeah,
she's going to do serious investigative journalism.
Whole afternoon of kissing. I mean, snooping. And
snooping.
That is the end of that chapter.
Cool. Joseph.
He's a footman, not a servant.
Servant, footman. He does stuff for someone that gives him coppers for it.
A footman is a servant.
Yeah.
He is. That's like saying a gardener is a maintenance guy. I once in my complex called the maintenance guy a gardener, and he got very upset. So, yeah, apparently titles are very important to me. Is my point.
Okay.
All right.
One more note from me for this chapter. And that was just that making use of invisibility. I was hoping for like an Age of Legends mask of mirrors or something like. No, just invisibility is no one knows.
Good old-fashioned servant.
Go as yourself. Yes, yes, invisible person.
Which goes back to what Moiraine discovered as an accepted in the tower. All you have to do is stand still and don't say anything, and you learn a crap load.
Yeah. People forget about you and they just talk.
Yeah.
All right, we're all building up to the final confrontation here, so let's move on to chapter 25, called An Answer. Joe, can you please answer the call to provide a recap?
I can.
Thank you.
The Chatayan is waiting outside, and smart people, even nobles, do not make Chatayans wait.
Chatazian.
Not Chatazian. Chatayanes. Not even queens would mess with them. All right? But while being escorted, she's not happy. You can tell the Chatayan. She's sniffy and looking down her nose. But anyway, off they go. While being escorted through the halls, Moiraine is distracted by Siuan's plans with the young footman.
Mm-hmm.
How far will she go to get the info? Yes, this contradictory information Morris was mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
Moiraine is surprised to not see a single tapestry or sculpture of a battle. Everything are fields and flowers and gardens and children frolicking. I suppose they don't want to see that shit inside. They see it every day, real life. They disconnect inside the palace.
Mm-hmm.
She thought that, there'd just be battle freezes everywhere, but no. Through a through a window, I just didn't finish the word, along the way, she also sees Bukama and Rain sparring in a courtyard down below, and makes a note to try and avoid them if possible. Yes, don't hang out with them. Lan too, add that to her mental note. Bukama and Ryan are sparring with their shirts off, and Ryan is clearly winning. The better swordsman by far. Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
They meet Prince Bryce? I'm going to call him Bryce. I'm also interested in the pronunciation. Is it just not Eden? Like the Carnera?
Eden.
Edain.
It's got a Y in it.
I also want to say Edain. I'm
like
just thinking
stain. Just put a E instead of Edain.
Maybe. I'm just wondering if it's just not like we call what's Perrin's mentor? Elias. Apparently, it's just Elias. Like, try and fantasize the word a bit. Fantasize? That's a word. Anyway,
just powder the word up a bit.
Phantomalize.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So I'm just saying this is Prince Bryce. So they go and meet Prince. What's his name? And
B.
the family. Whoa. Prince B, and his family. Everyone's super pleasant, by the way. And very happy to see the Lady Moiraine. And vicious small talk ensues. The weather and how difficult it is to travel and how tiring it is and blah, 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 blah. Moraine's holding back. She doesn't want to give too much away, so she assumes people find her very boring. Her plan is working. They do find her exceptionally boring. Eventually, Prince Bryce's children are brought in to meet her. A good sign that she's being accepted and also that the gathering is about to end. They only bring the children in at the end. The eldest child, who we just previously met in Village chapters, has some bruises, as we always saw. So she asks them about these bruises. Oh, he had fallen, and Lan, the king of Malkieri, luckiest man in the world and greatest swordsman who has ever lived, saved his ass. She's like, King of Malkieri? Not feeling so well. She is excused to go lie down. Oh, yes, traveling is very weary business. So she is escorted back to her rooms by a very over-enthusiastic servant, shall we say. On her way, they finally bump into what they have been trying to avoid the entire time. An Aes Sedai. And not just any Aes Sedai, Merean. She notes Moraine's dress and goes, so you're no longer hiding who you are. Oh, no, wait, no ring either. So, yes, you are kind of hiding? Yeah, sort of hiding. Baby steps, I suppose. So, yeah, she's also got some pretty good detective skills. All the Aes Sedai seem to. Merean is alone. Because Moiraine just blurts it out straight. She's like, are you alone? Merean's like, hey, man, that's not how you should address me. But yeah, Lorelle, who was tasked by Cadsuane to watch Moiraine with Merean, went on her own way, according to Merean. She went south. I know nothing more than that. No, she killed her. Yeah. Straight up. Lorelle's dead. That's how I know she's 247 years old. I went just to double check that on the wiki. She did. But Moiraine wasn't actually referring to Lorelle. She was referring to Cadsuane, who she is convinced is Black Ajah. But Moiraine does find it odd that Lorelle went south, as she was so keen the last time they spoke to get to Chachin without delay, she said. But she's like, hey man, plans change? She also finally realizes that, hey, maybe Black Ajah's sisters must be able to lie. You know, because either Lorelle was lying or someone else is lying. Someone's lying. So they must have a way to break the 3 oaths, which she didn't think was possible. But she's convinced of it now. On the right track, girl. You keep going. Merean tells her to watch out for Cadsuane and then leaves with a Shatayan. It's like, yeah, for more reasons than you think. Not the reason you think, and for many other more reasons. So her mind is racing now. If Black Ajah sisters can lie, then everyone is a suspect. Every Aes Sedai that she's ever met could be Black Ajah. And did Lorelle really head south, or is she dead in a ditch? The latter. This whole conversation, of course, took place in front of the servants. Proving our point if you just stand still. Don't say anything. You'll get loads of info. So now Miss Over-Enthusiastic knows Moiraine is also Aes Sedai. So she's even more overbearing. Great. So Moiraine needs to update her plans now. So she tells the woman to take her to Lan's rooms. She needs backup. But King Lan has no desire to talk to any Aes Sedai and refuses to see her. So Moiraine does what Moiraine does. It just barges in. She finds Lan in a sitting room with all the furniture pushed against the walls, practicing the sword. Of course, what else would he be doing? Sitting around, picking his nose?
Reading?
No. Reading. Maybe some of that poetry that he brings up with, what's Lord Anglemar there in book 2, I want to say? He could have been, but no, he was practicing the sword. His shirt is off, he's glistening like the sun. She notices the nail marks in his back from his previous engagement. And she's like, oh, she gets a bit flustered, like, oh, what? Can women actually find this man that passionate and attractive? But he is getting a little bit more human in her eyes as time passes. So he's like, oh, he's not just a stoic stone. He is actually a human being. Lan is not happy that she is there. She should leave before his Carnera arrives. He says, someone else is coming. I don't have time for you. She will not be happy if she finds you here, another woman in my rooms when she arrives. And she's like, dude, I have no interest in you whatsoever. And also, he has no interest or time for Kyrenian / Aes Sedai games. Woman, this strange little woman, get out of my rooms. She reminds him of a pledge made 100 years ago, in the War of 100 Years, whatever it was called, when Malkieri pledged to ride whenever the White Tower calls. She is Aes Sedai, and she is calling. I need your help, buddy. But he wants an answer to a question before he'll agree to help her. Why didn't the White Tower come to Malkieri's aid when the Blight overtook them? This, of course, is an answer that is sealed to the tower, but she's like, dude, I'm going to spill the beans. I know the answer. We did send people, but we came too late, and we couldn't let the world know that we failed, so we kept it a big secret to protect our image.
Like 100 Aes Sedai or something, right?
They sent a massive
force. People. They took a left turn where they should have taken a right turn.
Nah. So anyway, got a reputation to uphold, so we just swept it under the rug. Sorry, but shh, don't tell anyone. It's still a secret. He doesn't like the answer, but he accepts it. So he's like, all right, how can I help you? She's like, cool, I need a spy. Someone to watch Aes Sedai and Merean for me. So he sets Bukama to the task. He says first that Bukama and Ryan. And she's like, no, don't send Ryan. He's all weird around Aes Sedai. He'll spill the beans immediately. It's like, well, good call as well. Not for the reasons you think, but good call not involving Rain in this. So she's like, all right, cool, deal done. Chuff chuff, back to her room, where she finds Siuan waiting with the lady Isel. Eden, or Dane, as you prefer to call her, that's her daughter, which we saw earlier, the 17-year-old. The news has spread fast, and she's already there because she heard Moiraine is Aes Sedai. So that overbearing little girl just flapped her gums. So she is a very disrespectful young lady. She has no courtesy and no courtesy on top of it. No manners when talking to an Aes Sedai because she kind of doesn't believe that Moiraine is Aes Sedai. She's like, well, if you are Aes Sedai, then this. And if you are Aes Sedai, Moiraine is not liking this one bit. She wants Moraine's help in getting into the White Tower, but her mother wants her to marry Lan, but she doesn't know that yet. Moiraine says she'll have to test her first, but she's like, no, I've already been tested like when I was 15 years old, and I was told I'd be very strong. She's like, well, what the fuck am I? What do you want from me? Eventually, Moiraine is tired of this girl's insolence and kicks her out. She says, listen, if you want to go to the tower, fucking go. You know the direction. Get on that road. Head south. Goodbye. Kicks her out, like literally forcibly removes her from her room. Siuan, what have you learned? Siuan has only learned that the young footman is a very good kisser. But nothing else, really. But she is shocked that Moiraine went to land. She's like, dude, we can't trust these people. You don't know. This is supposed to be everything's secret. And she truly doesn't trust any man. This is Siuan's idea, who claims the throne of a dead country. He's got to be a fool. Like, we can't trust him. But they do both agree that they are running out of time here with Merean here. They got to make a move, and they need allies. And Moraine's like, listen, you got to take some risks in the game of life. So they need to find the Lady Ines now. So Siuan's like, all right, I'll go. Marches out, straightens her dress, ready for some more kissing action. I'll go get some more info. I can do what I can. And she leaves. Night falls before Siuan returns. I bet she's all disheveled. Hair out of place.
Sexy.
Her footman kisser told her that the Lady Ines's boy, Raheen, had been born one day before the retreat of the Aiel. So she's come back with some juicy info. Wow, that timeline lines up perfectly. And on the way back as well, she was approached by Bukama, who gave her a report on Merean, that Merean had spent almost all of the day with Prince Bryce. So no news there. She hasn't done much. But this Lady Inessa's boy story, that's pretty important news. Moiraine is like, I can't figure this Merean out. Like, she knows she's either one of Tamra's chosen searchers or she's Black Ajah. But which, at this point, does not know. And what she does not know will kill her, or worse, kill the infant dragon reborn. Dun dun dun. End of chapter.
Sure. I'm still surprised. Like, we're 2 chapters from the end here, and we're like, the climax hasn't even kicked in. Yeah. Sanderlanche coming in.
Yeah, well, exactly. This is where Sanderson learnt it.
Yes. Did you have any notes there, Villy? Anything you want to do?
No, that's pretty much how it goes.
I hope so. I did read the chapter several times.
There's more mentions here about rumors of a man that can channel, but maybe there are just more men that can channel than usual at the moment because the pattern needed Dragon Reborn, right? So like maybe more men were born that can channel. Apparently Chachin Lan had said to Merean that the next time she sees Moiraine, she's going to spank her. So let's see when Moiraine comes back, if they meet, if Chachin Lan makes any allusions to that. And then the take from Jo, Queen of Swords, about Siuan and Moiraine being in love. I listed here a couple things that sort of lead me to believe the contrary. Firstly, she did not know whether Siuan had ever been with a man. She's about 21 here, so that says something about Moraine's interpretation of Siuan's sexuality. But then Moiraine seems more surprised by the fact that it's a footman than a man, right? Like she's... It's more the station of the guy. Siuan asks Moiraine if she's kissed a pretty man since young Cormanes the night before she left for the tower, and says it has been as long for her. Too long, and Kel is very pretty. So she's been kissing men, pretty young men, since before they left for the tower, when they were both teens, admittedly. Then later Moiraine thinks she hoped matters were not going to proceed beyond kissing. It's Siuan's business if it did, but that sort of thing was foolish, especially with a footman. You know, so it's like, again, she doesn't care if she's like sleeping with a guy or whatever. That's her business. But a footman, like that's the part that's like still typical Coronian noblewoman, like, oh, no, not a footman. And then later Siuan says to Moiraine, one of these days you're going to find yourself ready to do more than dream about some man, and I hope I am there to see it. You know, just it doesn't sound like someone.
Yeah, there's no jealousy or
no, none of that. Or like
it doesn't sell relationship and lovers to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want them to look or feel jealous, but there's, you know, like you would feel something, you know, like when having these thoughts or playing out these hypotheticals and that sort of stuff. Like, but neither of them do. They're sort of like casually talking about men. So.
And Moiraine thinks back quite fondly of the pretty eyes of the boy that before she left the tower. And
another Anes,
same remarks
Cormanes.
About Cormanes. And
not Gorthanes or Barthanes. Barthanes.
Yeah. And they both end up with dudes later on in the series.
Yes,
like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Not just, I mean, we all agree they've got this like super strong bond and they are very close and everything.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so now there's only one more chapter and the epilogue left. So this final chapter is chapter 26 called When to Surrender. Vil, can you please surrender to us your recap of chapter 26?
Sure will do. Point of view land. We are pretty much still where we were in the Aistar Palace. Everything's playing out over here now. No changes coming. Lan is now on a spy mission. He is cue James Bond music and off he goes. He spots Azal and Merean walking and talking. Doesn't really listen. Doesn't really pay a lot of attention. But he picks up that the Aes Sedai, Merean, sends off Azal, and off she canters, and Merean follows in a different direction. Lan is now, he's looking at his future wife. He's like, oh no, what plot do I have in front of me here? And that sends his head spinning. He then decides to seek out Bukama, and as he walks, thinks about this situation that he's in, but something grabs him by the ankles as he nears a flight of stairs and pushes him in the back, and he goes head over heels, rolling down a comically long stair, let's call it a circular stairway from the top of the tower down to the bottom, and does not die. Lan's luck is truly outstanding. But that
also
doesn't
skill.
Because he goes all
Because
limp.
he says he goes limp. He
goes
knows how to
limp.
fall downstairs. This is not his first time falling downstairs. I don't know what's more worrying.
But he goes down like a sack of potatoes, I wrote. And just
He
like
does.
sacks of potatoes going down the stairs, there's a lot of bruising. He is hurt. But like the commotion of him coming down, you can imagine clattering and clanking of swords and all the rest. The servants come scurrying like, whoa, do we need to get Aes Sedai? Do you need healing? And he's like, whoa, he's trying to figure it all out. But at that moment, one of the guards come running and he's like, my lord, your man, Bukama, you gotta come quick. And Lan doesn't hesitate. He's up and running, and if they get there and it's too late. Dagger sticking out of Bukama's back, the man that carried him on his back out of Malkieri when the blight took over, is lying there with glazed over eyes and a dagger in the back and blood on the floor. And he thinks this Bukama would not have not been dead if it's not for these Aes Sedai. And he runs up and he knows exactly where he's going. We change point of view to Moiraine, and she hears the commotion of servants like, no, you cannot. And the door gets fly kicked open, and he's literally shaking off serving girls and slams the door shut. And they're like, okay, he's inside there. She's a big girl. She's Aes Sedai. She can deal with it. And he is quickly, Bukama's dead. What did you get us into? And he relays back to her, but she feels threatened at the moment, but that's not embrace Saidar. Instead, she goes for her dagger, like, to her belt knife. Merean was following Zell, so that leaves you. Someone tried to kill me with the power. And he explains his whole reason of bruised physique, and why he's looking like a man moving in pain. And Izal was hurrying somewhere with Briss and Derek. Moiraine then all of a sudden senses a pattern. And she's like, whoa, where would Prince Briss go for privacy? Like, where would he get away from it all? And he tells her about the walk with no guards. There would be a lot of privacy there. And if there's any risk to his life, they should rouse the guards right now. And she's like, no, we can't. Because if we do that, we have absolutely no proof. And what do we do if they kick down the door and they're just sitting and having a conversation? Merean and Briss, that is. Moiraine says to Lan, come with, but let Aes Sedai deal with Aes Sedai problems. And fastly they move, power filling her. She is ready, she's afraid. Merean has been a sister for over 200 years, and she is powerful. She's already been a sister when Moraine's gran was born. That does say a lot. Out on the walk, though, Izal is talking to Merean. Moiraine readies a... Sorry, I just need to mute this shit, yeah? She readies a weave to throw at her. She can already see the power surrounding her, and she's tied up Briss and Derek. And Izal is trying to explain, but how can I bring Derek without him? Like, the two were together, like, what does it matter? Yes, it mattered because she wants to kill the boy because he's lucky. And Moraine's first attempt at trying to cut her off and shield her is sliced, and roll for initiative. Battle has started. Shields, Lan and Moiraine then very calmly is like, oh, well, you should have off the spy sooner, or you shouldn't, but now start with the young one. You said you're so good. And he smiles, and Moiraine was quite surprised to see him there. And she's like, okay, that fits Dark Friend. He's the Dark Friend out of the three. And Steel meets Steel, and Lan and Rhine dances a deadly dance. Moiraine and Merean then comes to true blows. There is attack after attack being cut, being severed, being cut. While she's still holding other weaves, she's now got Azal, Briss, and Derek tied up and still not even sweating. Just like, oh, Moiraine, how do you find yourself at the wrong place at the right time all the time? What is your secret? But don't worry, I'll get it out of you because I will heal you and I will torture you and I will get it out of you. And the weaves that keep coming to Moiraine in attack clearly sets the picture that she is of the black. Things that aren't no, and there was this particular one where she's like, okay, yes. So true fear has set in and she's fighting for her life. She is Black Ajah. That's when Merean lifts Derek with power up and lets the boy fall 200 feet to his death. The father of the son who is falling is tied up, gagged, and the absolute defiant stare and anguish that's going through him, Moiraine thinks that he might actually break out of the hold that she has on him, and she proceeds to lift him and do exactly the same to him. The defiant look on his face never changes. It's at this point where Moiraine just sees pure white, and she's been clobbered over her head with some spell, weave, that literally knocks her out. And when she regains consciousness, she sees that Azal is now being lifted over the edge with the power. She tries to channel and she can't. She's just too damaged by this massive blow to the head.
And she's shielded, isn't she?
Oh, that's also then she's... No, she was... Yes, she was shielded at that point. She's shielded. She... Only thing she can think is like she's dazed. Lan is still fighting with Rhine. And as she... Only thing she can do is get to her feet, but Merean, thankfully, at this point in time, is completely focused on the little girl, the young girl, Azal. And Moraine's dagger finds her perfectly in the back. And everything is cut. She's not shielded anymore at that moment, but also Azal falls. And she's on the edge, and Moiraine lurches and her slipper slips, and with a blood-soaked hand, she manages to grab the girl's hand. But she can't channel. There's nothing she can do, and she's busy slipping. And as she tries in vain, she slips and sees a hand, and the scream, and everything. She falls down to her death. She feels someone pull her back, and it's Lan who has now emerged victorious from his battle, telling her, never watch a death that you don't need to. And the battle is basically over. Moiraine gets a knife back out of the traitor's back and wipes it clean on her garment. And that's where Lan goes like, you are a cold one, Aes Sedai. And that's when he realized that this is the one. She is badass to the T. They then quite literally do a cleaning mission. Channel away all the blood, have to make a story. This can't come out. And she puts it to Lan. Are you with me or are you not? We gotta do something here. She gets rid of Merean's body in a furnace weave till there's nothing left, and does the same with Ryan. And then very quick progression to the point where she gets back to the rooms and had to deal with all of this, which is the end of that chapter.
The big showdown on the walkway.
Showdown on the walkway.
Joe, what you got?
Probably the whole Ryan thing. Like everyone calling Lan the greatest swordsman in the world, and he wasn't until now.
Yes.
He wasn't. Ryan was. But yeah, what was it? Like Ryan thought he had won, so he kind of let down his guard, and Lan was like, no, it's not over till you're dead, buddy. Yeah. One more lesson I could teach you.
Lan's quote is, he was better, or he was
surrendered.
better, but he thought I was finished with only one arm. He never understood. You surrender after you are dead.
Yeah.
So my note is like, so never? Because you don't surrender after you're dead? Like, that's not possible? Yeah, very cool. Moiraine thinks if there was a hair between their abilities, it belonged to Ryan. And I thought, like, maybe because he's a bit older, a bit more experienced, because Lan is still young here, right? Still in his 20s. And Rhaen is a bit older than him. And he was beating Lan at sevens as well, I remember. Yeah. And obviously also the one that killed Bukama. I think Lan makes a comment like Bukama would have heard, like he can hear the whisper of steel or something like this. There's some like line about like Bukama can hear a sword
steel being drawn.
Yeah. So this person would have, like, it's someone that he trusted.
Or he could feel steel being drawn.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Or smell. One of the...
Definitely his superior olfactory
smelling sense
skills. Lan also says, after the thing, a black day, as black as I have ever seen, which is quite a statement considering who it's coming from. He's seen some pretty black days. Yeah, I mean, those were my only notes, really, about the chapter.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole book built up to this chapter. One chapter. Blam.
Pretty much.
And who all the bad guys are, everyone's dead.
And also, I would argue the epilogue. There's an important part of the epilogue that that we'll get to.
But I think the epilogue is also a prologue to everything else. But just deeper diving on that chapter, it just sets up everything in the sense of the secrecy. 3 deaths.
Yeah.
The secrecy of the tower. How they are going to hide this because they have to hide this. This is what they have to do. There's more to it. And she lets Lan in on everything, which is very, very important. But yeah, there's just all of these things that just point out to the bigger picture and the bigger role and the gravity,
the quest, and the
quest,
the real danger of the quest that they're setting out on. You know, like it's illuminated a little bit more in the epilogue as well when she talks to Siuan. But like you start realizing, like, all right, it's not just like they have all the time in the world to go find this dragon reborn. Other people are also looking, and it's the Black Ajah, right? Like a subset of the Aes Sedai that no one even knows exists. Struggle to believe it exists, even when presented with evidence. So yeah, but times are tough for the Aes Sedai.
I think her killing of Merean with a knife was just
very cool.
So not just cool. I mean, because killing her with a power would have also been cool, making her head explode or whatever. For Lan to see that and her do that, like, upped her street cred immensely. Like
the practicality,
the nobility is willing to get blood on her hands, quite literally to this cause. And unfortunately, that blood on their hands was to the detriment of poor Azelle, but that also freed Lan up from other commitments.
Yeah, this is a very tidy little chapter, tidying up all the loose ends.
Very Aes Sedai of
She could have saved Iselle, but oh, my hands are slippery.
I need a water.
Oh dear.
Sorry, Iselle. Okay, should we wrap this puppy up with the epilogue? I see here in my notes, epilogue Mo, clever segue failed. I don't know, how do you segue from the word epilogue?
I don't know.
There's a homework assignment for you.
You tell me. No.
All right, let's dive into it. So, the next morning, the Ice Dye Sharp Palace is in mourning, mostly for Prince Bryce or Briss and his son Derek. The disappearance of Merean, Sedai, and Ryan, a soldier, went mostly unnoticed. Moiraine searches Merean's belongings but finds nothing and returns to her rooms. On the way back, she sees Lady Edain Arel, now seemingly a broken shell of a woman after losing her daughter. Back in her room, Siuan is there waiting for her and immediately tells Moiraine Lady Inessa's son was born in a farmhouse 2 miles from Dragonmount, ruling out the possibility that he is the Dragon Reborn. Because I'm assuming in a farmhouse, he's not in the snow, so maybe that's the reason.
Also not on the slopes.
Not on the slopes, for sure. Moiraine tells Siuan everything that has happened, including the death of Merean, and asks Siuan to solve a puzzle for her. It seemed like Derek was the one that Merean most wanted to kill. And if it was Derek that she told Iselle to bring to her and Derek that she killed first, it's because Derek recently survived a fall that should have killed him. Merean also tried to kill Lan, which we know from the tripping down the stairs. Lan is said to be the luckiest man in the world. She also mentions Joseph Najima from Kanlum, who was always said to have been very lucky, but who had died in that fire, right? Remember we heard about him dying in the fire. And we were sort of thinking like maybe because they were trying to kill his new baby or something like that. But as we learn here, it's because he just seemed to be very lucky. And they don't know the age of the Dragon Reborn, and the blacksmith. So Siuan thinks for a minute and then she realizes what the pattern is. She says she never went near Raheen, Moiraine. The Black Ajah knows the dragon was reborn, but they don't bloody know when. Maybe Tamara managed to keep it back, or maybe they were too rough and she died before they could pry it out of her. That has to be it. Light. They're killing any man or boy who might be able to channel. Oh, burn me. Thousands could die, Moiraine. Tens of thousands. So this is what Ian was talking about in his message earlier. It means that they have a bit of an advantage over the Black Ajah. And when Moiraine says again she thinks Cadsuane might be Black Ajah, any sister could be, Siuan agrees. They decide that Siuan will return to the White Tower, where she will have access to all the Blue Ajah's eyes and ears reports, while Moiraine continues to search for the Dragon Reborn out in the world. Siuan asks whether Moiraine warned Lan and that he rode out an hour ago. Moiraine says that she has unfinished business with the man and sets out after him. She asks people along the way if they've seen a Malkieri man of his description, and she does seem to find a trail to follow. When she finds him, he's on a grassy hill burning his dowry, the woven hair locks that represented Eden's hold over him. Moiraine asks him to be her warder, but he declines, citing the war he needs to fight. But Moiraine tells him that it's the same war against the shadow. And then she tells him everything. So there's like a couple times she gave him that answer that, about why the tower didn't respond to Malkier. She tells him everything here. She was telling him everything about the Black Ajah out in the walkway. She tells him about Guitara's foretelling, the Black Ajah in general, the death of Tamara's searchers, and the whole lot. He stands there staring towards the north for a long time, and then he goes to his knees with his sword held in the palms of his hands, and he swears a really strong oath of obedience to her. And then Moiraine thinks to herself, and this is such a good line, on his knees he made any king on a throne look meek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As only Lan could.
Oh, yeah. Moiraine bonds him, and he immediately feels her emotions regarding the deaths of Iselle, Brice, and Derek, and he tells her to say a prayer for the dead and to move on. They descend the hill together, and she tells him, we win this battle, or the world dies. End of book.
Yay!
So did you guys have anything extra you wanted to say about the final little chapter there?
Nope.
Was pretty great.
Yeah. Besides that,
I liked that there was also that level of tying the ends of the story, because this is not something that's meant to continue other than Eye of the World kicking it off over there. So you wanted those things to tie up. Where are they going to be now? Moiraine has got a warder in Lan. Siuan is going to the tower, where she eventually will become the Amerlin seat.
For 20 years.
20 years. And all that little bits is tied up, and it sets the scene. And now you can say, cool, I can pick up the Eye of the World now and go, damn, kick ass.
Apparently Robert Jordan wanted to write 3 of these prequel novels, but he had to focus on Knife of Dreams and finishing the story eventually. And I think one of them was supposed to be like Tam's backstory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that while we were talking about Tam's backstory, like, wow, what an awesome book that would make.
Yes, totally. Absolutely.
And these missing 20 years.
Yes. I mean, there's so much story. Can you imagine the adventures these 2 went on as well?
Can you imagine the secret dates?
I want someone to tell me in a book. Come on, Brando.
Brando Sando. Right. Did you guys pick a favorite moment from these chapters?
Sure did.
I did.
Excellent. Right. How about we start with you, Willem?
My favorite moment for these chapters is identical to Scott Wilson. I was like, oh, damn you, get out of my chapters. And for everything that I've already said about the actual stabbing of Merean by Moiraine is not just the killing of an Aes Sedai, but the way it's done, the credibility that it brings in, the gravity of putting a knife in her flesh, quite physically, is at that moment. And I think if that didn't happen, it could be plausible that Lance would have said, no, too many schemes, too many things. That's like, and his words directly after that, you're like heavy Aes Sedai. Bro, you street cred.
It's pretty significant for Moiraine as well, because I mean, this was her mistress of the novices, right? Like this was like a senior Aes Sedai that was, calling the shots a lot of the time and was set to like watch over her and stuff. So yeah, like to stab her with a knife is pretty wild. I mean, in the moment, the only practical thing she could do. And luckily, Moiraine is resourceful. Caught Merean by surprise. Merean did not expect a physical attack from this diminutive Carinian noblewoman. But
just knocked out and cold on the floor.
Yeah. How about you, Joe?
I will read my favorite moment. This is when Moiraine tells Siuan that she went to Lan for assistance. A man who claims the throne of a dead country is 9 kinds of fool. He could be flapping his tongue about you right this minute to anybody who'll bloody listen. If Merean learns you're having her watched, burn me. And Moiraine replies, he is many kinds of fool, Siuan, but I do not think he ever flaps his tongue. I was like, yes.
Accurate assessment.
Lan is not a tongue flapper.
That is really good. Yeah, I mean, she has gotten to know him sort of like on their travels a little bit, hey? And I enjoyed her reaction to hearing little Prince Derek talk about, oh yeah, Lan, the king of Malkieri, the greatest swordsman in the world, him, yeah. And she's like, oh shit, okay, I need to go lie down. Oh, that's real good. Phil, my honorable mention was Moiraine killing Merean with a belt knife.
With a dagger.
And what is your prime favorite moment?
My primo favorite moment is the bonding and how Moiraine tells Lan everything completely against Tower Protocol, but she goes all in and wins. Like in poker, she takes a big gamble because it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
But she scores the best water ever, and the rest is history. And a fun thought is like, now where we are in the story, Nynaeve has him. Like another one of our favorites has this awesome character as a warder who has not yet a water bond with her, but like the bond of love and marriage, like so he is this like absolute machine of death is there fully dedicating himself to Nynaeve as well, which is awesome. The oath he gives Moiraine is also something like, where you point, I will go, like it's a very literal, I will obey your every command kind of oath, which is pretty strong. Typical of the Malkieri.
And she references that oath when she tells Lan.
They don't do half measures, those guys. So.
How about a favorite moment from the book?
I think our Kiwi buddy,
Gerald.
I have
who you threw Gerald under the bus. I think it was him. There was a lot of listener contributions, but I think it was him just talking about how this book makes you realize that, and I hadn't for some stupid reason, that both Moiraine and Lan are
nobility,
kings and queens if they choose, not just nobility, king and queen if they choose, but they don't. They don't want that. They have a higher calling than that. And I thought that was a very, very cool perspective. And that is my favorite thing about this book.
Totally. It was Scott Wilson.
Scott. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah. That is very cool, hey? How about you, Vil?
My favorite thing about this book, and it's not so much a moment, but the moment that I found myself in, was reading a book after what we went through the last time that was fast-paced with short chapters that you could go through, and everyone wanted you to go to the next one with a condensed storyline, with great character arcs. We still learned a tremendous amount of two awesome characters. And Swan for that. So 3 really that went very quickly. Like it was 10-minute chapters, 17-minute chapters, 15-minute chapters.
I find it hard to rate to your guys like time measurements of the chapters. I'm all pages.
So for me it was enjoyable. Out of that went from a 285-page prologue in the previous book to this that just was new, fresh adventure, tower out, get on with it, right down to a climatic battle scene, knives, and then deception. And
interesting.
Commitment, a bond. Let's go do this for the next 20 years.
I hear what you're saying, specifically about the short chapters and sort of like the narrow focus and stuff as well. I felt like that time that they spent in the tower kind of dragged on a bit for me, which is saying a lot in such a short book, like with, such a quick turnaround of what they were doing. I don't know, like...
I just didn't feel that. I felt like everything that I read there had purpose, it had introduction, and it had background. So you think it's like, okay, this is dragging on because of the content of what they are doing.
Yeah.
The content around what they were doing in that period of time in the tower is not as exciting or as heavy.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's exactly what my brain is doing. It's conflating the importance of what they're doing, or maybe like the weight, or I don't know what word to use, because those are probably not the right words.
Yeah, so you got to look at it out of this, the because you're trying to, she killed an Aes Sedai that trained her. That was, and I mean, for me, the reference to she was an Aes Sedai, Merean, before her grandmother was born. It's generations of being an Aes Sedai that she just stabbed in the back, and then but there's one really big question that this book has left me with. Why in current book era that we're in was the Black Ajah still so quiet? Like you don't speak that name, it's not taught, because 20 years ago now it's out, and Swan knows it's not out, and
it's not out.
Well, out to them, Swan and Moiraine.
Yeah, and then they burn Merean's body specifically to not get it out, right? So like they are actively, the two of them, keeping it secret.
Not out, it's known.
To them, just the two of them.
They know it. So did they just carry on keeping it secret for 20 years?
Yes.
Is Verin now put up, because Verin was part of their group, wasn't she?
No. Who, the Black Ajah?
No. So Verin's introduction comes in. Is Verin now put onto this trail in this next few years?
No, Verin finds out about Rand being the Dragon Reborn, like I said in the previous episode, in Feldar.
No, Verin doing an investigation or swearing as a Black Ajah.
She could be Black Ajah now already.
We don't know when that happened.
No. But I mean, that's irrelevant.
It's already happened.
There's already
because there's
already 200 sisters that are Black Ajah, right? Like it's not just Merean and Merean and a couple here. There's a shit ton of them already. It's all still a secret, and it's still a secret 20 years from now, just like it was 20 years before, and the 20 years before that, and ever since Ishamal established the Black Ajah. It's always been a secret. Now Siuan, Siuan hasn't seen, she's getting all this stuff from Moiraine, who she trusts, so she knows it's true. Moraine's the only one that sort of like had an actual like interaction here and survived an interaction with the Black Ajah. And they just don't know who to trust. So they do keep it a secret, because literally anyone could be Black Ajah. So they just focused on finding the Dragon Reborn, because they know they've got a leg up on the Black Ajah. The Black Ajah don't know what age he is. So they feel like they've got an advantage. So they're like just gunning, okay, let's just get to the Dragon Reborn before they do. And not like letting the cat out of the bag. Anyway, my favorite moment.
Is that what we're talking about?
From the book is, we'll come back to what you were talking about, because I also want to talk about my thoughts on the book as a whole. My honorable mention is seeing Moiraine as a warm-blooded human, checking out soldiers, getting hot-headed, like being petty with Lan, like playing pranks on Elida, and thinking back to like kissing boys, like sort of flirting with Rain, like very different, a much younger and more immature version of the Moiraine that we meet in the Eye of the World, right? Like she is by that stage already like battle hardened and like cold as ice. That was my honorable mention. But when it comes to an actual moment, still the one of Moiraine dancing in between all the Trollocs as she's destroying them during the Aes Sedai test. Like Moiraine is in the series painted as like, in the early books, actually, in Eye of the World and stuff, she is doing a lot of battling. Like the battle. We don't see the Battle of Human's Field, but we see her fighting Trollocs and stuff on the way to Shadow Logoth. When they're getting surrounded, and with Matt shouting in the Old Tongue and Lance fighting a Fade on horseback. Like we see her doing like erupting earth and that sort of stuff. But she is predominantly portrayed as like the stately manipulator, right? Like the one that is conversing with Rand. Lan is the dangerous, fighter sort of thing. And so to just have Moiraine have this moment of like showing how badass she can be as well, and that juxtaposition of the absolute destruction that she is sowing between the Trollocs with a court dance that she's doing while she's doing it. It's almost like something out of a Quentin Tarantino movie, It's like it's like stuck in the middle of you, like dancing while cutting off the dude's ear, like that whole scene sort of thing. Like it is this weird juxtaposition of this lighthearted thing and just like sowing absolute chaos. And I just thought it made Moiraine look like a badass. And we spoke about it earlier where they ask her, or she says, I think, does Lan ask her, like, have you ever faced a Trolloc or anything like that? And she's like, you'll be surprised, and I think it was so real that it counts. I was then going to ask about our thoughts on the book as a whole, but Vil, you've already laid it all out there. I think you're right in what you were saying that I'm doing is like I'm sort of the I don't want to say the consequence or the weight or the importance of what they're doing. And that's why I was sort of falling over those words earlier, because it is incredibly important that Moiraine find Rand, right? Like it is the single most important thing she can be working on. But I feel like we've moved so deep in the main story that the jeopardy is already so high, right? Like there's already so much tension, so many things are, maybe that's it. Maybe just like the amount of things that are in motion, plans having to like weave in between each other and sort of work in a clockwork unison for everything to turn out toward the end. This is so focused and so narrow. It's the efforts of one or two or maybe even three people if you add Lan in there, and what they're doing in their immediate vicinity. It isn't the scope and the scale of the stuff that they're working on is much smaller. And by virtue of that size of the scope and the scale, I feel like this book, I said it in the beginning, felt a little bit more like a distraction really than an important addition to the story. I could read the whole story without knowing this exact contents of the book. So while it is like refreshing, because especially after Crossroads of Twilight,
I think put your first time reader hat on and you read it in the sequence and you are able to read it back to back, this New Spring will give you invaluable amount of background of the tower where you go like, oh shit, Varen, okay, cool, Varen. Okay, she was there already. All right, and this one,
But is that
and
important?
well, I think if you really, I mean, yes, it's important because here we are sitting doing exactly what we're doing. So yes, it is very important. It's without this information that we wouldn't be able to sit and
We didn't
yak on.
learn anything about Varen. Like what we got was cool visualizations of stuff that we already knew. We knew that Moiraine and Siuan had been searching for the Dragon Reborn for 20 years. We knew that Gitara Moroso had this foretelling. And we knew that Lan is the king of dead Malkieri and became Moiraine's warder. Now we can see how all of that stuff happened. That's me, right? I'm not going to poo-poo your experience of the story. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. For me specifically, it just felt like when I read the prologue of Knife of Dreams, when I finished this, it pulled me along 200 pages in already, right? Like I couldn't stop, because now it's like, oh yes, this is the meaty stuff. This is what I'm really looking for.
Or maybe it's a palate cleanser.
I mean, that's fine for it to be.
I mean,
It's a lemon sorbet.
It wasn't hard work for me. That's the main thing. And I mean,
it absolutely wasn't hard work. No, I wouldn't go that far. And I enjoyed it.
In comparison to them going shopping in Crossroads of Twilight versus 2 shopping experiences in this book. It was merry. It was fun. it was quick, and how shopping should be done. I'm going, I'm getting, I'm going out. Nice and easy, quick, and like, so maybe it's a great palate cleanser, and then you go back and you go into Knife of Dreams and you go like, holy shit, this tastes so flavorsome now that I'm cleansed from all the shit that I had to eat.
I think what is super obvious to everyone that listens to our podcast is that you were in desperate need of a palate cleanser, where I was not so much. Like, I was having a great time, and I wanted to continue having a great time and not take a break. What about you, Joe? You're very quiet. Like, how did you feel about New Spring?
I don't get a word in edgeways with you two guys. New Spring, I'm kind of in the middle again. I didn't realize I needed a palate cleanser. This is it. I didn't realize I needed this palate cleanser. But after cleansing my palate and having started a Knife of Dreams, I'm just so much into Knife of Dreams now. And I don't know if it's like, I will never be able to tell now if it would have been the same if I hadn't read the New Spring, but so much enjoying the 11th book, way more than I did book.
How
10.
many pages is the prologue? In
91, the longest prologue yet.
Yes. So imagine I had to go with my mood straight into Knife of Dreams and look at it.
You would love it.
Yeah, I'd probably hate it.
It's really good.
I'd probably go like, this is part of the shit slog.
I mean, saying that the prologue is going to be shit because it's 91 pages is like saying, oh, this book is going to be shit because it's 800 pages. You know, like the number of pages are irrelevant. It's, Jody, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of view.
Easy peasy.
4 of which are awesome. And the rest are good. Yeah, but I wasn't at any point in these POVs going like, ugh.
See, now I have not touched Knife of Dreams yet. All I've been doing is picking it up and smelling it because it's got bookshop smell. It's brand new. Cool smell, eh? The what do you call this? The back of the book is not broken yet. The spine. The spine of the world has not been torn.
Folded yet.
Give it another sniff. So I'm waiting to dive in. I just wanted to finish and wrap this one up, so I'm not polluting my opinion of what I dealt with now with the other content, because the two of you were immediately in the chat. Oh God, this is just fireballs and lightning. I love it. It's great. And I was like, no, now I'm definitely not going to start because I don't want to.
It is definitely dense, Will. Like Knife of Dreams, like Joe, you're experiencing it. Like you are back into the main thickness of the story here, right? Like it is super dense. I mean, New Spring actually reads a lot easier. It actually reads more like a Brandon Sanderson novel. Like it is very breezy. Like I was going to say on the eye, but for you guys on the ear.
Isn't it also to a degree in the method of storytelling? And you see it a lot in really good shows that we watch where they use a jump back in time to fill in a gap as a very powerful way of telling a story without the need of a narrator or
it's the classic show don't tell, right? Like you can talk
Yes.
about someone's past or you can show them the past.
Yeah, exactly. And that for me
cool.
is where this fits into that sort of storytelling method.
I enjoyed all like the Malkieri lore, like spending time with Bukama and Rain. Like that's cool. That's like just nice, like flavor for the whole story. I also quite enjoyed the aspects of the accepted and raising to the shawl. Is New Spring the first time we read about a test for the shawl? Like the interior of a test? We haven't read that in the main story, so New Spring has introduced here a pretty significant milestone and test for the Aes Sedai that, the main story hasn't. So if you were only reading the main story, you wouldn't
dealt with those chapters, it was also saying, like, we're not going to see this with Egwene and the girls. We're seeing this with Moiraine. We're getting that perspective as told before this breaking of the tower and also the changing of tradition and the raising of Amberlin that was of all Ajahs and none, part of the prophecy and all of those things. So you're seeing the traditional, also the tower at its probably most diluted in infiltration, sort of just going through the repetitive motions. And who's it that brings, like, Cadsuane really bringing that point to the front? Like, this is what we have, you, Moiraine.
Yes, and how, like, over time, like in years, they're going to be the strongest, and we're like way stronger.
You're going to be the strongest, and what is it left to? Like, it tells that story of slow degradation, the loss of knowledge, because now we've been introduced to a lot of old stuff coming back, and because they've captured and held and tortured a Forsaken. And we've had Rand being trained by multiple Forsaken. So we've gotten things back in the story, but over here you have none of that. Traveling is arduous and done by horseback, and it takes time. And
there's bandits.
It's madness. It's utter madness. They're living in the Dark Ages, and how that it's all just sort of like funneled down, more Black Sisters, more murders. How quickly was it to get rid of an Amberlin seat? Like this.
Yeah.
It was just, I think the value perhaps will even set in with us as we read on further. Maybe. And we'll go like, oh yeah. I mean, you now definitely, and myself as well. I want to see Moiraine coming back from the Finns and
meeting up with Cadsuane again.
Meeting up with Cadsuane. Yeah. Like, okay, how's that going to play out? Because did she manage to avoid it for the next 20 years? Everyone always says Moraine's never in the tower, so probably she's been on the road. Before she goes back, she sends a pigeon. She's like, is that woman in the tower? No. Okay, cool. I'll pop my head in.
Yeah.
Is this the book where they rescue Moiraine?
I don't think so. I think for some reason I want to say it's Towers of Midnight.
I think so.
I think it is. I will do a callback and confirm.
And correct yourself if you were wrong.
All right, guys, this recording is stretching out past the 3-hour mark now. So let's... any final thoughts on New Spring, or have we said it all?
We've said it all, mate.
Radical. Okay, well then I will implore our listeners, please send us your thoughts on A New Spring. Send us your favorite moments, your theories, your corrections, explanations, or just say hello. You can do so using the social media links in the episode description. Just click on them. Or at our website, bloodandashespodcast.com, you can buy a t-shirt or a hoodie or leave a text or voice message, the latter of which we can put in the show. Please comment on, review, or star the show on your favorite podcast app. And then when you've done all of that, you can put New Spring back on the bookshelf and pull out Knife of Dreams. Make a nice cup of tea, get comfy, and start preparing for next time on Blood and Ashes, where we will cover Knife of Dreams Prologue. It's 91 pages, like we said before, and we'll split that up for the different points of view for Villy and Jody. But yeah, just the prologue for now. Jody and I have read ahead. I invite everyone else to do the same. Or actually, I challenge you to not do the same because it really, really pulls you forward. Phil, you haven't touched it yet, you said.
As I said, still sniffing it.
Okay, report back. Let us know when you've read some of those POVs. The first one is just like, starts with a bang. It's so fucking cool. You're going to love it.
Well, I might actually do that tonight because lying in bed reading does get me sleepy and I need to change my bedtime routine now. Ugh.
Excellent. Do that. Okay, we'll tackle that beefy boy in our next episode, but until then, I will say to you, sleep well and wake.
Jinqueer.
Yes, that. Hey, good evening.